Hello,
Hello.
everybody,
Hello.
and welcome to Actual Play UK, where tonight we will be embarking on a deeply unpleasant world of Mörk Borg. My name is Pip Gladwin, and a little bit of news up top before I introduce everybody. Actual Play UK is now a Twitch affiliate, which is great for us. So if you could show your support for the channel by subscribing on Twitch, that would be awesome. Now, being an affiliate does mean that ads will start popping up, but you can get rid of the ads by subscribing, so it's kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, go ahead and do that. As I said, my name is Pip Gladwin. I hail from the hallowed shores of the Realms of Peril and Glory podcast, where we play a bunch of different systems. Check us out at Realms Pod on Twitter. Yes, we're going to be playing Mörk Borg. Mörk Borg is a game that I one am deeply mispronouncing, and two I love very, 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 very much. I would happily play it alone, but that they said I couldn't do that, so I would like to introduce the wonderful cast of players that I am going to be playing with tonight, and let's hear from them, starting with Naomi.
Hi, I'm Naomi Thinks It, the sad girl under your bed, and you can find me at Ramspod or on my show at the Kilda. I'm writing second season. It's gonna be good. Today I'm gonna be playing Bloodless Keeve.
You did not need to introduce your character, but I get that you were excited to, and you just wanted to, and I respect that. Yeah. Next up, Adam.
Hey, I am Adam, the DM of the Gunpowder, Treason, No Plot podcast, a cosmic horror themed D&D podcast that you can find basically everywhere. I am super excited to play Mörk Borg, and if we're introducing characters as well, just because I'm also super excited, I am playing Galgenbeck, the dead god's prophet of Varka, the child of blood.
Awesome. What a wonderful combination of words. And next, Beth, please.
Hello, I'm Beth Crane. I'm from the podcast We Fix Space Junk, which I write and act in, and do sound design sometimes bits of for. I'm everywhere as Beth K. Crane or at Not Combustible. Threads is a thing now. And I'm playing Haga, who has all the teeth and none of the brains.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And finally, Nick.
Yeah, hi, I'm Nick. I am from the Trolls of the Two-Ton Bridges, and you can find us all over the interweb, all over all the different medias. Currently playing Tomb of Annihilation, and we've also got a Delta Green stream starting imminently, I believe. I will be playing, I also love Mörk Borg, it's the best game in the world. I am currently playing the Wretched Royal, Prince Otto Ernst August Pius Friedrich Franz Amadeus Antal Thaddeus Rupert Braltius Zvonimir Heinrich Josef Wilhelm Leonard of Ulm. And you are all peasants in my employ.
Well, looking forward to hearing that every time your character is mentioned. Before we start, I'm going to throw out a little icebreaker question, just to get everybody talking. And, you know, just going off the fact that the world of Mörk Borg is doomed and ending at a steady pace, I just wanted to ask our cast what their favourite fictional, for now, apocalypse is. And we'll go in reverse order, so we'll start with Nick.
Oh, thank you very much. My favourite is either going to be one of two. It's either going to be The Last of Us, because it's broadly speaking possible. Mushrooms taking over the world, awesome idea. The other one is Marvel Zombies. Being eaten to death by superheroes is one of the greatest reversals of character type that I've seen in a long time.
And my kink. Beth.
I'm glad I brought it up.
Mine is the restaurant at the end of the universe, because it's got the best food and possibly the best entertainment, although some of it's a bit ropey.
Love it. Adam.
Ooh, I think mine's going to have to be the Dark Souls universe. Absolutely
grim.
Love that. That's everything collapsing.
Ready to
and falling
die.
to entropy. Yeah, just the end of all things. Love it.
Good. Yeah, there's going to be some of that. And Naomi, you are vibrating. Tell us.
I think, has everyone seen Mitchell's versus the Machines?
Yeah.
Great animation. There's a
It's
giant
fucking
Furby, like, hell yeah. I want a robot apocalypse, but also a giant Furby. I'm into that. I want to be threatened by a toaster.
Yeah. I mean, don't we
All
all?
right.
Yeah.
I have been.
Today?
Yes. So today, every time I try and use my toaster, it I don't know what I mean.
You do
by
keep
this. I'm
taking
gonna-
baths with it, so.
it's my friend. So, well, I think that we can probably make a move towards starting this damn thing. How do you guys feel about that?
Let's go.
Yeah?
I'm
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We'll jump right in. The skies over the cathedral city of Galgenbeck have opened. Rain pounds cobbles, tiles, and windows alike as gutters overflow, mixing the straw and filth of the streets into a foul slurry. Just under the roar of the downpour is another sound. The thud and crack of weapons being swung, the screams of the wounded and dying, and the unholy screeching of birds. For the last 7 nights, the city has been besieged by a horde of monstrous ravens, large and vicious, their beaks razor sharp. It is here, amongst the city's defenders, guardsmen and volunteers, that we find the 4 wretched and contemptible souls with whom we begin our journey. Now, I'm going to roll a little d4. Nick, could you please introduce us to your character visually? And where is Prince Otto in this battle?
Prince Otto is probably trying to be towards the back, but being urged on to get to the front and actually be a man by his talking sword, who hates him, calls him a coward at every possible waking moment, and will probably end up stabbing him in his sleep, and also talks about him with his horse. So,
Yes.
but
Is Prince Otto mounted?
he is sitting on Barbarista.
Yes.
Barbarista, the wonderful horse.
Yes, Barbarista, the wonderful, the incredible horse.
The
I want you
incredible
all
horse,
to
yeah.
imagine, if you will, a Disney horse. So the face is too expressive.
It's the horse
ho-
from Tangled.
The horse should
Yeah.
not be. I mean, it's dirtier than the horse from Tangled, but it's close. The face should not be this expressive, and the expression on its face currently, as Prince Otto is riding on his back, is just one of absolute disdain and embarrassment that this pathetic speck of a man has deemed to mount him. Yeah, I said it. And as the sort of press moves around Barbarista and Prince Otto, we see another figure, and Adam.
Okay, well then you see, cutting through the crowd just a little bit here, a man looks older, covered in a bit of a patchwork of scars across his face and arms. You see he's wearing these deep, dark crimson red robes that are way past their best, about 30 years out of date and like tattered at this point. His hands are weeping this black liquid and are covered in sores. And what Galgenbeck thinks he's doing is walking amongst the press of people fighting and offering blessings of Varkar, his god. And he thinks everyone's very happy about this, but in actuality he's just wiping the blood of his hands on them, and as they spasm and cry out from it, he thinks they're just accepting the blessing, and he's having a wonderful time.
Galgenbeck is leaving a sort of wake of these fighting men behind him. Wherever this fluid that leaks constantly from his hands touches skin.
Yes, he thinks he's being very helpful.
Yeah, it seems to cause immense pain, or at least immense discomfort amongst these men that he is, inverted commas, blessing. And moving close to Galgenbeck, Beth.
A hulking shape with a mass of teeth sort of reaching out of its mouth. They're pointed. They are about as regular as an abandoned graveyard, except that they're all kind of pretty sharky. She is grabbing ravens and just biting into them, spitting out blood and feathers and bits of beak and bone. This is Haga. And she has a... Sorry.
No,
I was going to say she's also sustained a massive slash across her eye, which is badly patched and leaking green goop.
As Haga is... I can't think of another way to put it, just straight up Ozzy Osbourning these birds. Haga, you notice as you're sort of bringing these creatures close enough to you to bite their, heads and wings off. You notice their beaks are segmented. It's not just split one way to open. There are a number of segmentations here. They almost open out like a hand.
Yeah.
As the beak opens when these creatures are sort of shrieking. You count sort of 7 segments of beak for each bird.
I fish out my teeth, and I'm just like looking at this beak, and just
little sections of beak and feathers in your mouth. And finally, where do we find Naomi, your character?
Bloodless Keith is. Listen, it's a good name.
It's a great name. I love it.
He's going behind Haga, basically boshing people to keep them out of Haga's way. Recently, my identical twin passed, who obviously Haga would know, was a sort of, I want to say square little man. I think that's kind of the vibe we're going with. Square little man with very few teeth, kind of black in the mouth, with a Icarus dribble, and he's just behind, and he's just using a femur to smack people as we go past, and is repeatedly looking to Haga, who's obviously very busy eating birds, for approval at this action.
And she does not give it.
No.
Too focused on your meal.
Also just completely disinterested.
That too. The sort of front line of this, which hard to have a front line when you're being attacked from the air by birds. The sort of main mass of these defenders continues forward, and Prince Otter, you find a sort of, you do a little U-turn, effectively, to sort of, I've gone forward and then turn back. And the 4 of you are sort of left a little ways back from most of the fighting as these men kind of charge forwards. And around you are the dead, the dying, those who have been maimed or even killed by these birds, those who have been touched by Galgenbeck's hands, sort of writhing on the ground, and you see a few of the sort of reserves begin to move in and start pulling these injured people away, but you are sort of left out of the battle for now. Yes, Naomi?
I would like to harvest the teeth, thank you.
You get to work finding a suitably dead city defender.
I
didn't say that. I just have to harvest the teeth.
That is
just the closest defender.
The closest. Absolutely fair. Roll me just a d6, please, Naomi.
Sure. 3.
3. Shockingly, this is the number of teeth in this man's head. when you get there. Times are hard in Galgenbeck and all over the world, to be fair. But yeah, you wrench these 3 teeth out of this guy's head.
I take a small hand drill and begin boring a hole and putting them on a necklace.
I see what Keith is doing and think it's a good idea, although I will not tell Keith. And out of my toolbox, I take a small saw and start removing jawbones from dead and dying people. And you just hammer a nail through them, and then you can nail them, to pretty much any item to bring a frisson of
And here's
dental
one we
work.
did earlier.
Yeah.
They are very versatile.
Yes,
I'll say
yeah.
that for them. While Bloodless Keeve and Haga pull teeth and jaws from the
Arts
dead
and crafts.
and pull teeth and jaws from the dead and dying.
It's like a mercy killing, but worse.
And Prince Otto, what are you up to?
I just imagine Prince Otto making Barbarissa prance like a dressage horse, sort of trying to not to stand in anything too dirty, and then sort of taking a pinch of snuff, saying that, well, I don't know. Peasants do as peasants do.
You can hear from the scabbard of your blade a very muffled voice, just kind of like a voice that very much sounds like metal scratching on stone, just kind of but muffled by the scabbard itself. You just hear it screeching, "Coward! Coward!" But you pay it no mind. And
I've heard it before.
Barbarissa's head just sort of turns to look at you. He turns back and just, "If you're quite finished playing soldier, get off."
Oh, Barbarissa, I don't really want to get off here. It's too dirty.
Get off or I buck you off. Your choice.
Oh,
I would like to assist
Yeah, sure.
because I have been criticized by this sword. The sword has spoken to me and called me a coward, and I will not stand. I'm very insecure. So I would like to grab Prince Otto by the lapels and be like, "How dare you!" And then just be like, "Ugh!" And essentially attempt to pull him from his horse.
Great. Keith,
Wow.
roll strength.
Hell yeah! Natural 20.
Prince Otto, you are lifted bodily out of the saddle somehow by this very square man. And he deposits you gently on your feet next to the horse.
In the dirt.
yeah.
In the dirt and
Dirt.
the bodies and the yeah.
I pull myself to my full lanky height, straighten my once very expensive and very well fitted royal garb, royal hunting garb. So this is not the full court stuff, but it still costs more than most people earn in a year. But it's now dirty, it's stained, it's tattered, but it's still. Well, I've never been so manhandled in my entire life.
And
I'm
like,
I'm a nihilist at heart, but you can't do that.
well, I just did, so good luck. You coward.
Barbarissa, see to this peon.
Barbarissa's
I
head
up the horse.
just kind of turns like to you, Prince Otto, turns towards Bloodless Keith, and just kind of turns around and trots away to find some straw to munch on. Isn't too covered in gore. While this is all going on, Gelsbrig.
Galgenbeck was completely not paying attention to His Majesty being dehorsed. He was looking around the battle and seeing his blessings at work. And then, as the commotion goes on, he turns around, and again, couldn't care less that His Majesty's not happy, but sees that Bloodless Keith now has a string necklace of teeth. And Galgenbeck takes out his own and just walks right up to you, holds it out and goes, "Be sure you get 7 teeth. That is Varka's holy number." And then he just walks on to keep going, more blessings.
I point at his mouth and I start counting how many teeth are in it. And I say, wait, come back. Listen, I've got 3, so I need...
Make a presence roll now.
Thank you. 10.
You reckon it's 3, maybe 4 more, but you're not sure.
I grab the priest by the elbow, and I'm like, Galgenbeck, let's listen. I think if we work together, and then I see a man who coughs and like goes, ugh, and I launch myself upon him and begin attempting to rip the teeth from his mouth.
He's like, I've just got tonsillitis.
Yeah.
I'm not dead.
As you begin to attempt to pull teeth from the mouth of this living man, who honestly he slipped over and bumped his head, like he's fine, more or less. You hear the sound of fast-moving armored feet coming from one of the streets nearby, and this little cadre of about 6 sort of plate-armored soldiers sort of fast march out of an alleyway and start looking around this scene. Again, the battle has kind of pushed ahead towards the city's wall as the birds are being like driven away. And you see them looking around. One of them sort of moves out and starts talking to one of the reserves who've been pulling the injured and sort of doing what they can for them, which honestly isn't much and often amounts to a quick and largely painless death. And one of these reserve guys looks to these soldiers. They have a short conversation that you don't hear. He turns, kind of looking around, and then points at the 4 of you. And these soldiers begin to move in your direction.
More fresh converts.
I pretend to see somebody that I know and sort of, Frederick, I haven't seen you for such a long time, and start to sort of like sidle off in that direction.
The sword starts screaming the word coward again, just.
I hear the word coward and I'm on fucking Prince Otto. He cannot leave. He has impugned my lack of honor.
Effeminately slapping at the hand, going, no, my friend is over there. I'd like to go and speak to my friend.
I would like to throw my knife at whichever guy he's gesturing to.
Are you gesturing at an actual person?
No, it's just like I've made it all
in that
entirely
direction.
Up. Yeah.
Cool.
Just a random man is like,
Make a little.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Make a little presence.
I'm
make
pretty,
a little presence test for me, please, Harger.
Little presence.
Little presence test.
Little presence test for as a treat.
a little presents.
That is a 9.
With a 9, your dagger whirls off sort of harmlessly and clatters against some bricks. And these guards have walked up now. One of them steps forward, lifts the sort of visor on his helm, and looks. Prince Otto, he kind of looks to all of you and then settles on Prince Otto as the sort of best dressed, largely amongst the 4 of you. And he steps forward. My lord, Lord Irvang, he requires your services. You and your servants.
Well, servants would be fine. My name is Prince Otto Ernst August Pius Friedrich Franz Amadeus Antal Thaddeus Ruprecht Baltius Svonimir Heinrich Joseph Wilhelm Leonard of Ulm. Your lord may have heard of me.
Maybe. But he
What does your lord want?
He requires your presence.
Okay, can he pay me in teeth?
I mean, yeah, probably.
All right, let's go.
Forgive me don't forgive me anything because I'm a prince and you're not. Do they come nicely wrapped?
He just goes blank, and you can't tell whether the joke has gone over his head or if he's just...
Well, you say joke, but probably Prince Otto is being deadly serious. He heard the word presents and just imagines that...
he's probably very
he
inbred.
gets presents where he used to get presents wherever he went. People would give him things, so he's quite accustomed to just being given random stuff and like expensive things, and not even having to say thank you, because he's a prince and he doesn't have to.
Well, you'll come with us. It's sort of not a question.
I am already squarely walking my little crumbly way to where I think they're going. Let's go.
They sort of spread out, the six of them, around you four, and begin to move sort of into the city.
I finish ripping out my 11th jawbone.
Yeah.
I follow with a handkerchief held to my nose. Doesn't really smell of anything, but it's just the look, really.
And Barbarista, sort of seeing all of you go, I assume all of you go. Barbarista sighs heavily, and then follows at a trot behind the group. And you're led through the streets of Galgenbeck. Down here, close to the walls, is the poorer part of town, and things are not good here, especially over the last 7 nights. There are not a lot of people out on the streets because the city has been being attacked by large monstrous ravens for 7 nights, and anyone with shelter has taken it. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people without shelter in Galgenbeck, and a lot of that problem seems to have been solved by the fact that many of these people are dead. There are bodies.
What a Tory solution.
Yeah, there are bodies everywhere in the streets, and as you move up, the bodies do thin out as you move out of the poorer part of town, and closer to the gigantic cathedral around which Galgenbeck is built. And you take a couple of turns and find yourselves in front of a manor that was probably once very fine, but has fallen into some disrepair, much like everything else in this world. And outside that manor, you can see, standing by the large double doors at the front of them, 2 more of these armored guards waiting. And they march you up. There's a short conversation with the 2 guards on the door. One of them takes out a large set of keys, unlocks it, opens the doors, and you are ushered into a large hall with a big staircase sort of coming up from the center of it, leading up to a landing on the 2nd floor. And standing at the bottom of the staircase is a rail-thin man in quite a smart suit. It's a little dusty, but every fiber of this man screams the word butler so loud. He, as the doors are closed behind you, he takes one sort of short, sharp step forward. Good evening. My Lord Irvang will meet you in the library. And he sweeps a hand towards the stairs.
I put my coat over his hand. It's covered in guts.
He doesn't even flinch. There isn't even a moment. He doesn't blink. There is nothing. He just accepts the coat over his arm.
I put the horse's rein also over his arm.
While he's got his arm out to the side, I just reach up and give him a hug, because that is the blessing of Barker.
Okay. Would you like to roll damage?
Do it.
Yes.
And do your hands touch him, or is he wearing a lot of suit?
Gloves.
That's a good question. I got a 12.
Does your really horrible ability specify that it needs to be flesh? I realize I said that in the intro, but I don't think it does.
It does say on the bare skin of
It does say on the
assailants.
bare skin. Great. Okay. Do you make a point of intentionally touching this guy's bare skin?
No, I just want to
Okay.
cover as much of his suit as possible so that he has been thoroughly blessed.
Fantastic. Again, he's standing there completely motionless with Harga's coat over his arm, and then again without moving, Gelsbrigg comes in and just embraces him. And you sort of, as Gelsbrigg pulls away, you hear the sound of whatever it is that leaks out of this man constantly sort of sliding across this man's back. Does anyone else want to abuse this guy before we go upstairs? Or are we
I
good?
just take the handkerchief that I'm holding to my nose and just flick it at him.
You.
Lead the way.
It's the
I
first.
remember the library that we had at my palace, which was much bigger than this one.
It's the first time you've seen him move since the coat was hung over his arm. You flick the handkerchief towards him, and his other hand like flashes out and just catches it, and it disappears. You have no idea where it went. In a pocket, maybe, or he just caused it to cease to exist with butler powers. I mean, who knows? Yes, he ushers you up the steps and then sort of follows up from behind. And by the time any of you sort of turn to look, Harga's coat is still over his arm, but he's folded his arm in. He's folded his arm in, and the coat is beautifully folded over one arm. And he follows you up, comes around to the front of you guys, leads you to a door, opens this door up, and ushers you in. Creaking wooden floorboards. You can hear the sound of a ticking grandfather clock somewhere, though you can't see it. There's this sort of ominous tick throughout this house. This door is opened up, and you step out into a carpeted room. The carpet is red with sort of gold thread kind of threaded through it. It's seen better days. It's a little moth-eaten. But the room you step into is quite large. The ceiling kind of reaches up, and this whole room has its own little second story, and books line the walls in bookcases. There are a couple of those really fun sliding ladders attached to these bookcases. And down the center of this room are 7, they look like sort of display cases with various sort of strange looking objects and items in them. Odd things. Some of them move gently, others don't. You get there's an unpleasant vibe in this room from around these 7 objects. The butler comes in after you guys, closes the door, and then stands by it, and he says again, "My lord will be but a moment." And then he just sort of shuts down. He just sort of goes into standby mode. His eyes are still open, but like he switches himself off and stands by the door, and you guys are left in this vaulted room.
Is this man a robot?
No, he's a butler. So
I want him
kind
to
of.
be a robot.
Yeah.
I just imagine him looking a bit like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Show.
Can I
Valid.
take a closer look at the most unpleasant of the display cases?
You can take a closer look at the most unpleasant of the display cases. I would love for you to roll me a d6, please.
Okay. 4.
With a 4. You don't know whether this is necessarily the most unpleasant of the display cases, but I think it is for you. There is set on a little small pedestal within this glass box. There is a tiny little music box with a little crank on the on the side of it, and they're just something about it just kind of draws you in, and it's not moving, it's not playing itself, it's just this little music box resting on a small pedestal.
Do I recognize it, or is it just?
No, it's just something
sinister?
very odd about it.
How thick is the glass?
Ooh.
How thick is the glass?
Yeah.
Hard to tell from the outside, but only one way to find out.
I mean, I do literally have a hammer on me. I would like to take a nail, put it up against the glass, and hammer into it with the hammer.
I'd like you to make a little presence test right before you do that, please.
Okay. That's a 1, so...
Okay.
Hell yeah!
You bring this hammer out and swing it towards the nail. As your hammer hand is come down, a hand latches around your wrist and pulls the hammer down, and you feel a knife just bite into your throat. Like, doesn't cut deeply enough to do damage, but you feel it press enough to draw blood. As do the rest of you. In this moment, suddenly there are knives at all of your throats. The butler has not moved. But each one of you has a very large man clad mostly in black standing behind you with a knife to your throat. And the man holding you, Haga, that wasn't very polite. I don't think the Lord would appreciate you stealing his nice things.
I wasn't stealing, I was just having a closer look.
Well, since he's on his way, I can let you off that one. Won't be a second chance.
Alright. You
We
do
all
much
good?
later.
We all good? And he kind of looks to the rest of you and to the other men holding you guys.
Oh, Haga, it's just like old times. You remember when my brother, Bloodful Keith, was here? Before he had that terrible meat grinder accident.
Yes. The accident.
Okay. We're going to take our knives away from your arteries now. And we're all going to have a nice, quiet wait for his lordship to get here. How does that sound?
Fine by me.
Well, I quite like a cup of tea while I'm waiting, to be honest with you.
Yeah? Oh, milk? Sugar?
Oh, milk, no sugar. I'm sweet enough already. My nanny always told me that when living back in Ulm, it was such a lovely place. I remember sitting at the bottom of the orchard one day, the warm sun on the stone warming me through my light linen shirt.
Fucking hell, you're dull. And these men step away from all four of you. Their
They
knives,
melt back into the shadows.
Their
is that the
knives
deal?
kind of disappear back into their clothing, and they don't melt back into the shadows, but they do move to various parts of the room and just take up very sort of nonchalant attitudes. They lean up against stuff. One of them sits down and sort of pulls a book off a shelf and is sort of idly looking at it.
As if that man can read.
Yeah, he's the book is upside down. He's pretending.
Yeah.
Can I go up and also pretend to read next to it?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This is a good one.
I'm going to wander
Yeah.
around and actually find a book to read.
Okay, great. Because you can, in fact,
Because
read.
I can,
Yep.
and I just want to prove that I'm better than everybody else.
Mhm.
I would like
find
to sniff as many cases as possible.
you find Prince Otto. You find a volume of poetry from the region of Kergus, and you know. If you would like to, I imagine you reading it aloud.
Yeah, holding it in one hand, just
Yeah.
sort of strolling around the library going, I remember this one from my own library before it was demolished and fallen into fire and broken crockery. There, I wandered lonely as a goat herd through the wilding ways, eating things and
I would like to eat the
lowing
book.
beasts.
I'd like to eat the book immediately.
Before the skin, he
you can
flared.
grab the book and start chewing on it. Gelsbrig, what's Gelsbrig doing in this room full of men that wish you harm?
Full of men that wish me harm. I
Well-
was thinking I want to follow the one that put the knife to my throat and go up and offer him a pamphlet on a new way of living.
Yeah, you walk over to the man that threatened you moments ago and proffer him a pamphlet, which I imagine, if it wasn't soaked in whatever this stuff is by the time you give it to him.
Yeah, pamphlet is what Gelsbrig thinks it is. It is a sheet of paper with a bloody handprint on it, and he's just going to hold it out to the guard and go, I see you are a man lacking faith. please, take this with my blessing.
I don't know entirely that I want to touch that.
More fool you, more fool you.
Look, if I take it, will you leave me alone?
I will leave you alone.
Deal.
But
He reaches
Varka
out.
won't.
What? He
Goodbye.
tentatively reaches out and sort of takes the paper, trying very hard to touch it on a spot where none of this fluid has touched, and then goes back, and this one guy is now having a very difficult time acting nonchalant because he's sort of holding this piece of paper up and kind of looks slightly uncomfortable. As all of this goes on, a couple more minutes pass of interminable poetry and the sound of Bloodless Keith trying to eat a book, and the doors you entered through slam open, and you think for a moment that they've crushed the butler who was standing next to them, but he smartly sort of steps out from behind them a second later, and a very large man enters the room. He's a bear of a guy. Big, short, sort of cropped brown hair, kind of shaved at the sides, big beard. He's wearing furs and leather. A little bit like you, Haga. One of his eyes, although it's been patched better than yours, one of his eyes you can see has a little slash across it, but has been sort of patched up with bandages that look like they've just been replaced and cleaned. And this man steps into the room.
Hell yeah.
Sorry to keep you all waiting. So you're who the guards brought, are you?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Delicious library you have here.
Thank you. Please try not to eat the books. Some of them are very rare.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
right
this
now.
one. Can I keep this one?
Well, that could be part of our deal, certainly, if you are set on this particular book.
Well, it just reminds me. It just brings up such lovely memories of Nanny.
What do you want us to do?
Always good to have you in a game for the pace, Naomi.
I think
What
it's,
is the story?
I think it's just Bloodless Keith is like so aware that if we hear another "I wander as lonely as a goat herd," he's gonna die before like anything happens.
Totally fair.
Or
It
he
is also a
gets
book of
4 more
erotic
teeth.
poetry, which is really weird.
That's towards the end of the book.
Yeah. He didn't get to that bit yet. That's why he wants to keep it. He just hasn't told anyone that. Yes. Well, I asked my guards to go out and see if there were any particularly capable-looking souls amongst the fighting men out there. And he looks at the four of you. I think
I
perhaps
smile and I've got teeth and... Not teeth, I've got beaks and feathers just in my teeth.
Okay, like he looks at you, Haga, and like there's a little you see a sort of flicker of horror on the one eye of his that you can see, but like then a kind of nod. But as he sort of takes in the other three of you, he yes, I wonder if I need to dock their pay somewhat, but no, you'll do. I have an offer. I need you to undertake a little task for me, and you may ask for whatever you wish in return. I am a
As
very
many teeth as I can carry.
one at a time. I'm a very rich man, as I'm sure you can tell.
Oh, you have lovely lots of leather-bound books.
I do, and I could certainly furnish you with a small library of them, if that is what you would desire.
What I'd really like is a small library with a palace to go with it.
Yes, well, that might be slightly out of my purview, but
I find myself in times of slight strife, you see.
I want as many teeth as I can carry.
He just sort of tails off and just glares and...
I'm sorry, Nick, I'm just
Peon.
rolling over you.
That's fine.
teeth for this one. Yes, I can get you as many teeth as you want. A big sack of teeth. Is that fine? He sort of turns over one shoulder and just Felban, you have a sack on you? And this guard so the one who was sitting down, pretending to read the book, kind of looks up and goes, "Of course I do, boss. What'd you take me for?" And he sort of produces from behind his back like a big sack. It's a big sack. It's like a big flour sack. Somehow he had on his person. And Lord Irvang kind of gestures to it. "This, filled with teeth. Sufficient for you, my strange rectangular friend?"
I look at him and I smile with my black mouth and just let some ichor dribble down, which he would know is yes.
I will take that as a yes. Now, I'm sorry, where are my manners? I haven't introduced myself. I am Lord Irvang. This is my home, Irvang Hall, and, well, my son has... 7 days ago, he fell into a coma.
Ooh.
And he has been unresponsive ever since, until this very night, when he awoke. He was catatonic, but he spoke, but the words were confusing at first. He kept saying, "Return, return, 7 seals unbroken," over and over again for hours. Until then he began to describe events. A box or a casket of some description being pulled from a tomb somewhere within the city, loaded onto a cart and taken out as this 7th assault of blasted ravens began this evening. I believe he needs this box, whatever it is, and I would have you retrieve it. Time is obviously of the essence. I will furnish you with a cart and horses to chase down these... Well, I have no idea who's taken it or even what it is, but I believe my son needs it to survive, and I need my son to survive, you understand, as he is my only heir. All 6 of his other siblings are all dead, and, well, yes. I'm sure you understand the need.
My friend Robert had that as well. It's really difficult.
Galgenbeck's going to very excitedly run up to Lord Irvang. Not touch him, just get very, very close to him, somewhat uncomfortably.
Yeah, you see every man in the room, like, goes for weapons as you do that, and he holds a hand up to kind of steady them as you approach him.
And he'll go, 7 seals?
7,
the 7th
yes.
The 7th attack, it is Varka's holy number. Oh.
Yes, I suppose those are a few 7s, yes.
It is. It is a sign. It is a sign, and I will pledge my help to you for but a humble reward. I need no more teeth. I have 7. That's enough.
What would you have, sir?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I would like a small church funded by yourself. Just set up in the town. Doesn't have to be too big. And I would like, let's say, mandatory attendance from as many people as you can round up.
What you ask is heresy.
Well, from your point of view.
Yes, and the point of view of the Holy Church of the Two-Headed Basilisks of Galgenbeck. Were I to set up this church for you, we would both be killed. But
it can be a secret church.
If we were to flavor this church as a community center or...
Kids playing community basketball in the back.
Yeah.
something
knitting.
similar,
Yeah.
then yes, perhaps this is possible, and I'm certain I could furnish you with a few weak-willed souls to fill out your congregation.
Excellent. The Holy Community Center of Exsanguination. I love it.
Fine. I mean, that's not heresy. That's fine. We can call it that.
Perfect. Happy to help.
You notice that the butler has been, like, writing all of this down, like, in the background. So, yes, time is of the essence. My large-toothed friend here, the only warrior among you as far as I can tell. What would you have?
I want one of those. I point to the butler.
Looks over his
Hell
shoulder.
yeah!
Looks over his shoulder. Seems you've impressed them, Cedric. Fine, done. A butler you shall
Cedric's
have.
I like the idea that he's got a sack and he just pulls out a butler from the head.
A butler,
And
yeah,
he's
a
like,
big
this
sack.
one will do,
Yeah.
and then he just puts
Yeah.
it back in. Yeah.
Yeah, Felbin, you've got a butler in a sack, don't you? Of course I do, boss. I'll
What do you
carry
take
one
me for?
everywhere.
Yeah.
And you, my well-spoken friend. What would you have?
Well, I don't really know. Nice to meet you as well, by the way. My name's Prince Otto Ernst August Pius Friedrich Franz Amadeus
I would like to
Antonius
start for the
Ludwig
door
Batius
and be
von
like,
May
time is of the
Heinrich
essence,
Joseph
time
Wilhelm
is...
of Ulm. You may have heard of me. You know, certainly the palace that I had, it was well known round our way.
Yes, the Palace of Ulm in Vastland. Yes?
Yeah,
I had
that's the one.
I had heard it collapsed and all members of the family were killed.
Apart from me, I was away hunting a
see.
vicious rabbit at the time. Unfortunately, the most terrible thing is I lost my nanny. It was such an awful day. Now I'm a complete nihilist. If something like that can happen to one such as I, then why should I listen to any god? Or obviously, between you and I, we are both men of breeding. We know that the laws of man do not apply to people such as I. For instance, blasphemy? No, it's just eccentricity. And peons like this, we know we have to pay them. We don't, but we know we should, because otherwise they're
I'm suddenly
revolting.
standing very close to him and like a little bit of drool just dripping on his shoulder.
Oh, Hark, I've already paid you twice.
He reaches out and touches your shoulder, sort of actually gently. I had a nana once. I feel your pain. Now.
Oh, she was such a lovely woman. She had a cauldron and everything.
I was born in an orphanage!
He just ignores you completely. Like you're sorted. You're getting your teeth. He does
Good.
not care. How about this?
I thought about what I would like.
Oh, okay, please.
I've been wearing these clothes for days now. I'd like to spend time at court. I want to wear nice things again. I want to have nice things. So, you know, I'd like to be away from the dirt, to be honest with you, and the peasants. I'd like to speak with people who can actually read and actually put two words together without saying
Well, that was going to be my suggestion. As far as the courts
Great minds think alike, you see.
Well, they do
we're
indeed.
obviously born to be together.
As far as the courts, such as they are, left of Galgenbeck and the other cities of our crumbling world are concerned, the family, or shall we say the Ulms, I apologize for not giving you a full title, but as your strange, square little friend says, time is of the essence. As far as they are concerned, your whole family is dead. Perhaps I could furnish you with a stipend to start with, and a reintroduction to courtly life. The returned prince, he survives. How does that sound?
I think that would be a lovely idea to start with. There seem to be many empty palaces here.
I'm certain we could find you a suitable property.
I'd need some staff as well, if that were okay.
All in good time. Now,
Oh, such a lovely man.
Please.
Isn't he Haga? Isn't he Kiev? And my priestly friend over there, is it the Lord? He's such a lovely man. We would have had you to visit if we'd have known how lovely you were.
well, perhaps we can see to that in future if you return what I need. Now, outside, the stables. You will find a cart and horses ready for you. I suggest you take it and you leave at once.
We do that. Let's go.
No time left.
Yahaga just starts walking.
All right.
Doesn't open the door, just Haga-shaped hole, and the rest of us
Plows
walk
through
out
the
through it.
door.
Yeah.
I hand
all
a
of those...
pamphlet to the butler on the way out.
He takes it from you, and the Gelsbrich being the last person to walk out of the room, you see the butler sort of take the pamphlet from him, and as you guys are walking down the stairs, you just hear "Ah!" and the voice of Lord Irvang, "Get up, Cedric!" And you guys head out. You're shown by the armored guards kind of stay where they are, and you're shown by a couple more of these just men who wear black and are very quiet. And there are two more of them, like different ones. They weren't in the room with you before. Show you to this cart and get you loaded up. These two semi-arthritic horses begin to sort of trot ahead, and as the cart is sort of moving out through the city, you see that the ravens have been driven off for now. You can still see the sort of cloud of them as they flap away into the night sky, and the city's defenders kind of collapse in exhaustion. And Barbarista trots up alongside the cart, as a group, you leave through the gates of the cathedral city of Galgenbeck and begin your journey on the road towards your destination. A couple of hours pass, and you have been traveling along this muddy road, moving through this blasted wasteland. There are hills here and there. What trees there are these just sort of jagged stumps sticking up out of the ground. It's dark, but rummaging through the back of this wagon, you were able to find a lantern which hangs from a hook attached to the cart itself, that is lit, pushing out a little bit of light. I don't know if any of the rest of you have anything that would make light, any torches or any useful things like that in your gear. I'm seeing a lot of sad faces, which I think is a no.
No. Well, I'm just busy trying to keep my small monkey out of the rain.
Of course.
Or Tinkle. Come under here.
Of course, yes.
Just sits there, ignores me, and then sort of like all of a sudden the little monkey hand comes up and just strokes, and then sort of like so it hasn't done anything at all. It's ignoring me completely, but it's completely besotted with me.
Yes, we failed to mention Tinkle,
Yeah.
Prince Otto's monkey.
He was hiding. He was hiding at the time. He was scared.
He was hiding the whole time. He's been in Barbarista's saddlebag this whole time.
That's where he's been.
And oddly, this little monkey, like whenever Prince Otto pays any attention to him, he ignores him, and then as soon as Prince Otto is not paying attention to him, he just kind of stares lovingly at him. It's a really odd relationship that this man and this monkey seem to have.
Thinking about it, would my sword? Sorry, would my
just take a
sword?
second.
Yeah, sorry.
Because an ad is playing, so just give us 1 second.
Okay.
What you missed is there's a monkey. The monkey's name is Tinkle. Go. Some of you have got ads and some of you haven't. So enjoy that, guys.
Subscribe, because then they'll go away. Like, that's genuinely, like, we're not holding you hostage, but we sort of are. Hello.
Hello, we're back again.
We were those of you with ads. We were just discussing the nature of Prince Otto's monkey, and if you did miss that, I'm going to leave it at that, so you're confused. The cart has rumbled along this desolate stretch of road for what feels like hours at this point. How have the four of you been amusing yourselves as these two very slow horses kind of trundle along along this road.
Very meticulously picking all of the feathers and grot out of my teeth. Because I do know the importance of good dental care. My teeth are, I mean, they're horrendously yellow, but they are very clean.
They're strong.
Except when they're not. Yeah, they are strong. They're probably like, after I die, my bones will crumble away and there'll just be a big pile of teeth. So.
Ideal. I
Yep,
think
ideal
that,
for this group.
I think that I'm taking this time to really engage in a craft, and I'm using my lard to make miniature versions of everybody.
Uh-huh.
Sculpting miniature versions of all of us.
Of course.
From lard.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sat in the corner loudly praying because I need to pray louder than Varka's voice in my head to make sure he can hear me.
Yeah, Varka's voice has been steadily rising since you left the city. It was kind of down to a manageable mumble when you got there, but since that cart passed through that gate and is heading in the direction that it is now heading, his voice has risen in your mind. And it's largely unintelligible, as it always is. But there it is, just kind of screaming like hot wires in your brain. But you can pray to get it out. And
I'm very
that's religion, I
excitedly
guess.
telling him about the community center he's going to get. I hope he's happy.
Hey, thanks to Wannabe Wilb for subscribing with Prime.
Yay!
You can also subscribe with Prime, and it won't cost you anything other than all the Prime that you already have. And it's a great way to give money to Actual Play UK and help us do more of this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Naomi.
Thank you.
So, yes, Prince Otto and Haga.
So I have been obviously speaking with Barbarista as he's strolling along beside us, explaining the deal that I've made. In fact, to get him a decent stable with all the straw and carrots he could possibly want, and possibly some fillies as well. And then in between that, regaling everybody else loudly with stories of my of my younger days with spending time with Nanny at the large palace that I used to live in. Tales of debauchery and cannibalism.
I have taken my lard figurine and crammed it into my ears, so I can't, because I'm so tired of listening to you.
Reach out, break it in two, cram both halves into your ears.
Yeah.
I feel like the cannibalism has finally got me to pay attention. I'm like, oh, okay, so it isn't just like poetry. There's fun stuff too.
Well, no, flesh and blood and bone, and it's like it's like poetry. If you mix the two, then you can make a wonderful mess of the world.
I think we're really bonding in this moment. I'm just like, yeah.
Being a nihilist, it means taking things like that and not worrying what other people think about you. To be honest with you.
As this wonderful moment of bonding is taking place, there is a little flicker from the lantern that is lighting your way. And it suddenly, after kind of flickering for a few moments, just goes out.
Oh, that's not good.
Drops you guys kind of immediately into largely pitch darkness. There are shreds of light from the moon, which is sort of barely waxing at this point, but it drops you guys into darkness for a moment as it goes out. Yes.
Just quickly, obviously, my sword, Kreen, he is a magical sword, obviously magical, with gem-like, sort of star-like gems all over the hilt and the pommel and everything else. Would he be able? Well, would they be able to see in the dark? Because he has no eyes.
It's interesting. Would the sword be able to see in the dark?
And would he tell me if he could?
He does hate you.
with a passion, with an icy metal passion. Yeah.
I think it would take some convincing. It sounds like your instinct here is to reach for Kring.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull Kring from his very expensive scabbard, lined with velvet, because I love the sword. He hates me, but I love the sword, even though he insults me at everything, because it is the sword of my ancestors. I hold him just across my lap, being very careful not to put it anywhere near something important. Bearing in mind, this is a black metal sword. You can black metal in any way, shape, or form.
Well, if I could see that, I'd be very impressed.
You hear, I think all of you...
And I talk to him.
Yeah, I think all of you hear his whetstone voice just kind of hiss out from, the area around Prince Otto's loins. Yeah, I love... My favourite thing in the world is making you make that face, Naomi.
What is it? Coward! Have you finally come to your senses? End yourself with me.
Well, I have a better thought than that, you see, Kling. I've actually come up with a lovely deal with one of the lords of Galgenbeck. All we have to do is we have to find a box that his son, who's in a coma, requires from a dream. And then we get whatever we want.
What I want is to kill.
But if we're a lord of Galgenbeck, we can kill whoever we want. We can go back to what it was like in Ulm.
I killed a lot in Ulm.
Oh, it was wonderful, wasn't it?
Those were the good days.
Aye, they were. And Nanny, she used to find us such wonderful screamers.
Yes.
I'm putting my hand out to try and hold Haga's hand because I'm quite freaked out by this, and it's dark.
Haga's hands are both in her teeth.
Make you reach out and just accidentally grab Gelsbrig's hand.
Yeah.
Roll me a presence test, please, Prince Otto, to convince this sword that hates you.
Seven.
He's not convinced.
I'm going to have to kill people. It should be fine.
Yeah, I think what happens in this moment is he leaps into your hand. The handle of the sword sort of leaps into your hand, and you feel your arm get swung wildly in an arc. It's, again, I point out, pretty almost pitch dark at this moment. Gelsbrig, you feel a little whisper of air as a tiny amount of blood is drawn from your cheek, and then a thunk as the sword sort of hits the inside wood of the cart. And almost simultaneously with that, you feel the cart that's been kind of rumbling along on this rough but well-trodden road. You feel it suddenly sort of veer to the side and then start thumping over open ground as the horses have just kind of lost their way and have turned sideways, it would seem, in the dark. So you're now all suddenly being bumped back and forth as this cart sort of seems to veer off in the wrong direction.
Who was driving?
No.
Who
one.
was driving? What a good question.
It certainly wasn't going to be Prince Otto.
Yeah. I think we all thought everyone else was driving.
That's why we're sideways in a ditch now.
This is the moment when you realise no one was driving.
We're all in the back of the cart. Yeah.
Barbarista was actually just talking to the horses and just guiding them with his voice,
I thought Varka was taking the wheel, so,
Excellent.
Baka, take the wheel.
So, anyone want to do anything about this, or should we go in a ditch?
I want to leap and grab the reins. I can't see jack shit.
You can't.
But who cares?
Make me an agility roll, please, to see if you can. You've got an idea of where you are and where the reins would be in relation to you.
Is a 4 going to do it?
No. It's really not. You leap forward and just, as you did earlier, but mistakenly this time, just grab hold of Prince Otto's lapels and then start yanking them like reins.
Yes,
so you're
yes, yes.
just hauling him around, not realizing that this is a man you're swinging around and not the reins of a horse.
Don't worry, everybody.
Whilst
I've
I'm
got
still
it.
trying to hold
I've
on to
got
the
it.
sword as well.
Yeah, you're
aren't
trying to pull Kring out of the wood. Save us, Haga and Gelsbrigg, save us.
Haga. Haga slams herself into the side of the cart and just knocks it on its side. Which is
Just
a way
fully
of
rolling-
breaking.
Okay, strength, please. Big strength.
Good. Okay, the only one I can do. That's a 10.
Okay, with a 10, you smash into the side of the cart, but you don't achieve the thing you wanted to achieve. You achieve a lesser thing than that, which is you basically go through the side of the cart.
Yeah.
So Haga just, none of you can see Haga. You hear a grunt, the shattering of wood, and then a
Nothing.
thud.
Yeah, just swearing.
As Haga kind of rolls to the ground. And you're going to take a small amount of damage for that, Haga.
Yeah,
Let's see. You can contest this with your armor. So if you've got any
Yeah,
armor on,
yeah,
please
I
make an armor
do.
roll.
Okay, I have a 6, so minus d6 damage, minus 6 to
Minus
whatever
6.
damage you roll.
You take absolutely no damage
Nice.
from this fall.
I am definitely turned turtle though, because I'm wearing heavy armor and I'm really not agile. So I'm just going rolling on my back, trying to get up and failing.
Okay, Haga's failed to save us. Gelsbrigg, save us, please. Definitely
Okay.
do what your character would do and save us.
Do what my character would do. Okay, so for Gelsbrigg, he's realized that Varka helps those who help themselves. So he's going to run and try to get some control over this wagon by... I think I'm going to try and leap and grab the reins or something to stop them
Yeah.
tipping over, basically.
Yeah, you can do what Bloodless Key failed to do. So
Yeah.
make me an agility roll, please.
Okay. With my terrible, terrible agility.
Yeah,
That's a 13 plus nothing, so 13.
I'm gonna with a 13 plus nothing. You lurch forward. You do kind of hit the top part of your torso and ribs against the wood of the cart, knocks the air out of you a little bit. But as you bend forwards, you reach out and suddenly latch hold of these two straps of leather that immediately become extremely wet in your hands, and begin to haul on them to try and slow the horses down. And before too long, they do clop to a halt.
I let go of Otto and I say, "You're welcome, everyone."
And yeah, you are now in a stationary cart in pitch darkness.
Great.
Clearly, to succeed in the future, you all also require the blessings of Varka, so please line up. I will lay my hand upon you.
I think we all sort of move our way to the back of the wall to try and avoid being touched.
I just sort of swipe around in the darkness, assuming I'm getting all of you.
Good.
Yes.
I'm just holding Kring up in front of me as an impromptu, very thin, sharp shield.
Kill him! Kill him now!
I would like to use the lard version of Otto. Put it inside, find the lamp, put it inside, and then see if I can set it alight to bring us back
Okay.
into the light.
Yeah, you reach over and using the lard, you kind of don't at me, people who know how lanterns work. You rub the lard on the wick, maybe, I guess, I don't know, and using the sort of striker that on the side of this lantern, you flick a few times until sparks fly and the lantern relights. As this lantern relights, can every party member please make a presence test for me?
Does that include me, as I am
It does.
not there?
It does include you. You're a few feet behind where you fell off.
18.
Ooh.
10.
12.
5.
So, 18 and 12. So that's Haga and Bloodless Keith, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
As this lantern flares back into life and a little bit of light is cast out into the surrounding area, you see for a moment the space around you that you're now in. The cart has veered not too far off the road into what looks like it was once a field of crops. You could see the kind of once irrigated earth that was probably creating most of that bumping that was happening when you guys were moving across it. Nothing grows here anymore, apart from this sort of one very thin, spindly tree. And then it's only you, Bloodless Keith, and Haga who realize that that's not a tree when it starts moving. Long limbs, kind of like it just begins this kind of almost kind of gangling. It's a walk. It's almost kind of comical. High knees, the arms are kind of swinging side by side, the palms are outstretched, or one palm is rather. The other palm you see for a moment, you see it's holding quite a large knife. And as you kind of look up and further up at this thing, you see instead of a head, humanoid or otherwise, there's just a big lantern, unlit, and then your lantern goes out again.
Okay. Oh, God.
And all of you now hear footsteps, almost sort of jauntily moving with this high-kneed gait towards your cart. You hear it, you cannot see it as it begins to move towards you.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go.
What do people do?
I'd like to try and get up.
Yeah, you can get up. I'm gonna say you can get up.
Good. Good.
You sort of
'cause-
fold yourself and manage to haul
Yeah, it's
your
incredibly noisy. Yeah.
clanking as you do.
Yeah.
I would like to attempt to grab the reins and be like, Tisha, you know, like they do in the movies.
Touche. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. You know, I'm not gonna make you roll to grab. Although I would say that Galgenbeck probably has the reins right now.
Yes, I am.
I'm
next to
okay
him.
to grab Galgenbeck and shake Galgenbeck like a rag doll. That's fine.
Okay, it's a free action to do that.
Good.
Galgenbeck, you are being shaken and yelled at to get these horses moving. You don't know why, because you didn't see that thing.
I assume that Bloodless Keith has just been possessed by, a divine vision, and therefore we really need to get going. So I'm going to crack the reins and get us out of here.
You crack the reins, and the cart slowly begins to kind of rumble forwards. Takes these two horses a little while to get moving, but they do begin to move forwards. I'll jump to Haga next. Haga, the cart's leaving.
Can I just... I'm gonna attempt to run
Yeah?
and just grab onto the cart because
Absolutely.
it's gonna be faster than me walking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am going to need an agility roll from you.
Cool. So, for the audience at home, my
Here's
agility...
how fucked you are.
My agility is -2.
Yep. For the heavy armor.
No.
Oh, just
No,
generally.
my agility
Yep.
is -2.
Sorry.
Plus, normal agility tests are a difficulty of 14, not 12.
Mm-hmm.
And my armor is -2. So I need to roll
So-
an 18 or above on a standard agility check.
It's an 18 or above on a standard agility check. Now would be a wonderful time to remind you guys that you all have a little resource called omens,
Yes.
which are effectively reroll tokens in point of fact. But let's see
Bennies.
how you do. Bennies. There's lots of words for them. Let's see how you do and see if you need it.
Yes, I do. Because that was a 7, which works out to a 3.
Did we roll omens for you?
I've got 2.
You got
I
two
think I
omens.
should start with 2.
Would you like to use one?
Yes.
How would you like to use it? What would you like to use it to do? Because it has a number of different uses.
Would you like to hear the uses?
Oh,
Yes.
yes, everyone would.
Deal max damage, reduce damage by a d6, neutralize a crit / fumble, force a reroll, or before roll, decrease the DC by 4.
Decrease the DC by 4. I think.
I think you've already rolled. You
Yeah,
probably
it's
need to use it
before,
for
so you
I meant
prior
for the
to
next.
rolling.
Oh yeah, no,
that
I
would
need
be
to reroll.
technically be 2 omens, so
yeah.
we need to just re-roll.
Okay, I'm just gonna reroll.
All right.
Oh.
Oh.
Can I use both my omens and before that reduce
If
the
you-
thing by 4?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what?
I don't want to be
if you're-
eaten by Slenderman Lanternhead.
If you're dumping
So-
both your omens, then yes, absolutely. You can do
Yes,
that.
I rolled a 17, so I succeed.
You rush forwards, clanking, and behind you, you can hear this thing moving. Again, you're sprinting. It's kind of jauntily. You can't see it, but you can kind of hear the gait. It's just these long legs that are allowing it to almost catch up with you. And you leap, guessing into the dark, hoping that this is where the cart is, and your armored hands crunch onto the back of the cart, and you feel yourself get sort of hauled forwards. Your grip holds. You're being dragged behind this cart now. As you're being dragged behind the cart, you hear the gait of this thing increase, and then suddenly from its head, that lantern flares into light, blinding all of you momentarily, and we're going to take a little break.
Amazing.
And we will, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back to see what happens next. So join us, won't
Amazing.
you? Welcome back. Everyone is afraid. When we left off, our plucky band of lovely human beings were attempting to escape from some kind of strange lantern-headed creature aboard their cart.
Regular Tuesday night.
Uh-huh. Haga had just managed to leap and grab the cart as it left, at which point this creature ignited its lantern head, flashing a blinding blast of light. And at this point, I'm going to ask my players to roll initiative, as we are going into combat with this thing. So, initiative in Mörk Borg, I would like you all to roll a d6 and add/subtract, whichever is appropriate, your agility.
Be a
3.
4.
Let's see, we got a 5 for Bloodless Keef.
4 for
We
Galgenbeck.
got a 4 for Gelsbrigg. Also a 4 for Prince Otto. Prince Otto and Gelsbrigg, what are your agility bonuses, please?
Mine is -1.
And Galgenbeck?
I got a 4 total with +0. So
+0. So we're gonna pop Galgenbeck first, then Prince Otto with Haga down the bottom. Now, another thing we do in Mörk Borg is at the top of every round, I'm going to be rolling a d6 to see which side goes first. So, here's my d6.
And we're on the same side.
Yes,
Yeah?
I mean, yeah.
Just
For now,
okay, cool.
1 to 3, that will be your enemies, and 4 to 6, that will be you guys. So, lucky number 5, it's you guys going first.
Hey.
So, as this blast of light kind of blinds you momentarily, Bloodless Key for the top of the turn order, what would you like to do? Right now, all you can see is the after image of this thing as it, arms raised, is kind of now beginning to run behind the cart.
Well, luckily I have one trick available to me. And that is lard. So I'm going to take
Infinite lard?
it's a pretty big lard. I've got a sack and some lard, so I'm gonna take my sack, coat the bottom in lard, and try and like create a slip trail behind us.
I love this.
That's what I'm going for.
I love this. I'm just gonna roll agility. That's what I'm gonna do.
Hell yeah.
Because I like rolling dice. It's why I'm here.
The only reason.
The only
Not
reason.
just to torture us.
You hear the telltale sound of something slipping on a lot of lard, and then a kind of clattery thud as this thing hits the ground behind you, and the cart continues on apace. It's picking up speed. Again, these are semi-arthritic horses, really trying their best to go quickly. Galgenbeck.
right. Apparently to lessen the horror of this situation, my brain's decided to call this thing the Stabo-Lantern. So
Really
I'd share
good.
that with you all.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Do you hear that, Free League? Change the name of this creature.
So as I guess I hear this thing clatter to the ground behind me, I sort of look back and see the lard, and I think that this is clearly a great opportunity to throw out some caltrops behind us that I happen to have.
So long as you miss me.
I will try to.
'Cause I'm just
Varka
like,
chooses who I hit.
Make me a presence roll, please, to toss these caltrops out behind the moving cart.
Okay. That would be a 3.
All right. With
Face
a
full
3,
of caltrops.
with a 3, you move and sort of turn in the direction of the back of the cart, as far as you can tell. Bring out like a handful of these things, and then as you're kind of reaching a hand back to throw them, the cart goes over a little pothole, and there is kind of a thud, and the caltrops leap out of your hands, scatter themselves over the surface of the back of the cart, you're now in a cart that's filled with caltrops.
Don't worry, we are now protected in case it climbs on.
So smart.
Prince Otto, what are you doing?
I have an unclean scroll.
Oh, he's got an unclean scroll.
Eyelid blinds the mind,
Okay.
which, if successful, D4 creatures fall asleep for 1 hour unless they succeed a DR14 test.
Amazing.
So I would like to. I'm holding obviously Kring in one hand, still probably stuck to the one of the pillars in the car.
Yes.
You see me reach inside my jacket and pull out this sort of floppy piece of parchment, which, as it's got hair on sort of one edge, it's fairly likely to have been scribed on human skin. On the inside of the scalp. And
Just to see how many, do you know how many power usages you have per day?
I don't actually.
Great. If you just real quick before we cast this thing, roll me a d4 and tell me what your presence score is.
It's a 3. and my presence score is +1.
Oh wow, you have 4 power usages a day. That's
Ooh,
Nice.
this boy be magical.
Which means that I can read a scroll 4 times or 4 scrolls once.
Yeah.
And anything in between.
Anything in between. So you may you now have to. So there's 2 rolls that are going to need to take place now.
Yep.
One is to successfully cast. Magic is dangerous in this world, so
Yes.
I will need a.
So is a glowing tree thing.
You're not wrong. DR12 presence to wield this scroll successfully.
Yep. Okay. I've written a script for what I have to say as well. So
Ooh.
so
Someone did the homework.
presence.
Most of it was the name.
That is a 19.
Oof, that's coming off. That's going to do it. Let me see if I am successful. DL14, was it?
DR14 test.
Tell me what you say.
Oh, spirits of air and darkness, draw your veil across the eyes of these fellows of waning jest. Let them sleep, perchance to dream the dreams of the damned and the lost.
That's
You
amazing.
speak these words out into the darkness, and the scroll sort of flutters a little bit in your hand, and nothing happens.
That's what you get for relying on heresy.
I don't believe in heresy. I'm a nihilist.
Haga.
So, is it catching up to us?
The last thing you heard was it fall over.
Oh, it fell over. Yeah, you're right.
Is it in melee range, I think is the question, really, isn't it?
I would say that it is not also quite hard to melee when you're clinging to the back of a cart.
Yes, I'm basically what... I feel like... Can I use strength to pull myself into the car?
Absolutely you can, yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna try and pull myself in. I'm gonna try and...
I'll give you that for free. I'll say
Nice.
make the roll, but I won't take your full turn's action away for doing that.
Okay, that's a 17.
17, you haul yourself into the cart. Being the heaviest armored amongst you guys, you're aware that as you pull yourself up, you're knocking little spiky objects out of the
Yeah.
way, but I don't think they have any way of damaging you.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, treading on Lego in Doc Martens.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
You there's probably going to be a couple of these caltrops stuck in your boots until you
Yeah.
remove them, but I don't know that
Okay.
they have the ability to damage you right now.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to use my Shoe of Death's horse.
I wish that you would.
Yeah. It looks normal, but since finding it in an obscure crypt, you are convinced the shoe came from the horse of death himself. In your hands, it hits with DR10, D4 damage. 1 in 6 chance the shoe smashes the skull, instantly killing small to medium-sized creatures, which this is not. The
I
shoe
would say
returns to your hand
I'd
like
call it a
boomerang.
medium. I'd call it a medium-sized creature.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's
So
very
you
nice.
You are flinging your horseshoe into the dock,
Yeah.
attempting to shatter this thing's skull or at least do some damage to it.
I mean, it's
would
made of
love
glass. It's a lantern. So,
I would love a presence roll.
yes, presents. Okay. That is a 13 against a DR of 10.
Okay, before we roll any damage for this thing, Beth, I would like you to roll me a d6.
Yeah.
And tell me if you get a 6.
Oh.
No.
Okay, it whirls out. Roll me damage for that, please.
Damage. 3.
3 points of damage. You hear not quite a wet thud, but a medium wet thud as this horseshoe kind of whirls out into the darkness, smacks into something, and then whirls back out of the darkness and into Haga's hand.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you don't hear a noise of pain or anything from this creature, but it certainly seems like it has struck home.
Yeah.
That
I just
takes
give a
us...
toothy grin. I'm like,
That takes us to the bottom of the order. So the creature is going to move now. It rights itself, unbeknownst to you guys, because you cannot see it at this moment in time, and begins to sprint forwards. Gelsbrig, I'd love to know how much damage those caltrops might do. Just, I know you missed.
They do 1d4, and they have a 1 in 6 chance of causing infection.
Love it.
I mean, they might fall out the back.
It is moving and bouncing.
No. This is what I'm going for. I'm going to make a little luck roll right here to see if 50-50 chance to see if any of these caltrops have been knocked loose by the movement of the cart and Haga pulling themselves up onto the cart. Let's see. Yeah, I'll give you that. Did you say D4 damage?
D4 and then a 1 in 6 for infection, if that
Roll
matters.
me a D4, please.
That would be a 3.
There is, now you hear a sound, there is a hiss as of escaping air, almost, as this thing sort of stomps heavily down on one of these caltrops, you assume, out in the darkness, but it does not slow its pace, and you hear this thing kind of thundering towards the back of the cart, and it's gonna sprint, I'm gonna say, and it arrives without those caltrops. That lucky caltrop, I'd say it probably would be able to make an attack right now, but because it's trodden hard on one of them, I'll say it's lost that action. But Haga, being right at the back of the cart and standing there, there's just enough light for this thing to very suddenly appear out of the darkness directly in front of you. And you see this thing kind of a little bit more clearly now. It is this tall, kind of 6 foot tall, sinewy humanoid. Its limbs almost look like coiled rubber. Not that rubber is a thing, we're in a medieval world, but you know, we're using metaphors for everybody here. And yeah, its head is just straight up a lantern, a metal and glass lantern. But now that it's this close, you see there are 2 sort of straps going under its arms, and on its back is a quite large wicker basket, and you hear a sound as some things begin to flap and emerge out of this basket. Without light, you cannot see what they are, but something is moving and has emerged from that basket, which will take us back to the top of the order with Bloodless Keef.
Great. Now that he is within range, I'm gonna try and hit him with my femur.
Yeah, I love that for you.
Cool. What do I roll?
First you roll agility. First you roll agility to see if you get any caltrops in your foot as you try to move into range with him.
3, yeah, I do.
You do. That's a D4 of damage.
Cool. I've got light armor,
You
so...
do have light armor, so I'm going to roll a D4. You roll whatever your armor dice is, and let me know what you get.
I don't know. Hold on.
It's a D4.
Okay. I got 4.
All damage negated. This caltrop is stuck in the bottom of your leathery shoe.
And my leathery foot, which I cannot feel because of the leprosy.
And you move forward towards this thing and swing at it with your femur. Make an attack roll for me.
Hooray. D20 plus...
D20 plus strength, please.
17.
17 is going to hit. Roll damage for your femur.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna use my omen to deal max damage and deal 4.
To deal max damage, to deal 4 points of damage.
Yes.
Bloodless Keef. Kill this thing.
Cool. Bloodless Keef is like, okay, I did the lard, that went great. You know, like, I know what I need, and I run up, and I would like to run up the back of Haga, and bring down the femur straight through its lantern head, obliterating it, and then I would like to feel a sort of sadness inside as I realise it doesn't have any teeth.
Yeah, you know, in those like cool movies where two hero characters are like teaming up, and one of them like takes the knee and the other one like runs up their back. Like, imagine that if the first character didn't know the other character was going to do it, and the second character less sort of ran and more kind of scrambled, holding a femur.
And I would like to hit it and then say, "It lights out for you."
Awesome.
You bring the femur down, and there is the sound of rending metal and shattering glass. And as it breaks, there is one more blinding flash from this thing, and this sort of twisted inhuman screech. And it drops out of view into the darkness as the cart continues to rumble forwards.
I would like to still be on it when that happens and just disappear into the dark with it.
Oh, you jumped onto the creature?
Yeah. I just want to like disappear into the dark.
Amazing. Okay. Bloodless Keith is also gone. And the cart continues ahead.
Nobody stops the cart. Everyone's like, sick.
More food for us.
I suppose if no one tells me Bloodless Keith is gone, I won't stop the cart.
Great.
I haven't noticed. I'm trying to pull the Kring out of the.
When I get the sword out, it's gonna be great.
So, Bloodless Keith, as you just wave into the darkness, as you hear the cart rumbling away from you, something you hear again, this sort of fluttering sound, and something sort of silky brushes your cheek.
Is it carnivorous moths?
Something silky brushes your cheek.
Great. I would like to flail wildly in the dark and be eaten from the inside out. Thank you.
Oh, you want to be eaten from the inside out?
I want to be eaten from the inside out.
Look,
I
we
think
gotta
that was
specific.
We gotta make rolls to see whether that happens.
Oh!
Okay? So, Bloodless Keith, please make... So, a fun thing about Mörk Borg, I haven't necessarily been explaining the mechanics, but, you know, hey. A fun thing about Mörk Borg is I don't roll attacks. I simply tell you are being attacked, and then you roll your defense. Defense is agility. So, Bloodless Keith, I need you to make 3 defensive agility rolls, please.
Hooray! 13.
Success.
8.
Fail.
2.
Fail. Bloodless Keith. You're taking 6 points of damage right now.
Cool.
Please
Cool.
see if you can reduce that with your armor.
No, I can't.
What do you mean, no, you can't? What did you get? I know
I've
you
got
wanna...
6 HP and I want to die.
Yes, but that's not how the game works, Naomi. I'm
This is
sorry.
rubbish.
That's not... No, it isn't. This is how the game works. You don't
I
just...
decrease it by 2.
You decrease it by 2.
But I don't want to.
Bloodless Keith, you feel like just small things start lashing at you and kind of cutting into your skin as you feel these things are moving around you and kind of lashing at you with something.
I would like to scream in the dark so
yeah.
the others can hear me.
Yeah.
And then go silent and die.
On board the cart, you can hear Bloodless Keith screaming.
It's what he would have wanted.
I do not choose who lives or dies. Only Varka does. Praise be.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. What's going on?
See, this is what I mean. Like, you're gonna get your death. It's just it's gonna happen within the rules.
I'm just impatient. I want to die now.
Okay. Well, what do you do? How do you respond to being attacked by these 3 things that you cannot see?
I'm flailing wildly with my femur, attempting to bash them
All right.
out of the way. Are they carnivorous moths?
You can't see them, so you don't know. Make me an
I
attack
want to know
roll,
if
please.
they're carnivorous moths.
Well, if you want to know what they are, maybe stay alive.
5. I won't, and you can't make me.
You miss. I'm going to go ahead and assume that nobody on board the cart is going to try and save Bloodless Keeve. Bloodless Keeve, please make 3 more defense rolls.
Thank you.
That's okay. And
9.
And be honest.
12.
Okay, so 1 miss,
12.
1 success. So you're only taking 1 lot of damage this time around. Please roll your armor.
Can I say at this point, Haga has remembered that the only good thing about Bloodless Keith was his jawline. So I'm like, shit, we should go back. Because, like, that would be the perfect centerpiece.
Right.
Would be
I
pretty
appreciate
good.
that.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn the cart around, but not very fast.
Okay. Anyone else like to do anything? Again, you're still in the dock.
Does Kring manage to hear what's going on? Then...
I think Kring is having spent the whole of that fight embedded in some wood. Kring is swearing violently in a language you don't understand, and calling you a coward in a language you do understand.
Well, I can't be a coward if I don't know what's going on, Kring. I mean, if we're going to kill something, we need to kill it together.
Coward!
In the dark.
Gelsbrig?
is...
But if we can't kill it, maybe we can skin it afterwards.
Well, Gelsbrig is pondering that having 3 acolytes was good for the prayer circle. Now it's more like a prayer triangle. So kind of doesn't want Keith dead.
Okay.
I would like to take 3 more attacks, please.
It's your turn first, Naomi.
Hooray! I get a natural 1.
I don't believe you.
I did! I got a natural 1.
I just don't believe you.
I would not lie to you about a natural 1. I was so gleeful about it.
Okay. Nice. Nat 1. That's going to mean a bad things for you.
Hooray!
You're going to take a free hit from one of these things, whatever it is. So you failed, so just damage coming in. All right, roll your defense, please.
4.
4 negates all the damage completely. You're just being battered around by these things now, but you hear the sound of the cart coming back.
Yeah, I begin running towards the cart.
Haga, yes.
Hit me with
Are
the
we
cart.
going to accidentally run over Bloodless Keith?
Yeah, I think you
hope
are.
so.
Yeah, we're going at a fair speed now.
Okay, in the dark with just no idea of where you're going.
Yeah.
I run towards the cart runs towards me.
Bloodless Keith, make me a presence roll to see if you run in the right direction.
5!
5. You don't. You sprint off in completely the wrong direction. Who is steering the cart right now?
I'll
Haga,
go.
you said you turned the cart, so
No,
you
I
are.
think, yeah, I feel like I just grabbed one side of the reins and pulled really hard.
Presence roll to see if you go where it is that you want to go.
Hilarious. Cool. That's a 6.
That's a 6. You just veer off in the wrong direction.
What if I just woo?
Keith just runs off into the darkness. The cart veers off. And with that fail, you do feel the cart, thump back onto the road. Keith, you just run into the dark.
Hooray!
You can't see. You don't know what's going on.
Cool.
And yeah, you just sprint off.
I would like to say that since they can't see me, that you carry on, and it's not until 10 minutes later that you see me at the side of the road with my thumb out.
Let's see what happens to our folks on the road. As you realise you are now back on the road, in the dark. What's the play? You heading on? You heading off?
Well, there's plenty of peasants all over the place. We can pick up another one at some point. It'll be fine.
But the jawline.
Oh, I'm sure we can find somebody with a jawline.
Yeah, Bloodful Keith had a great jawline, and then I wasn't quick enough to save it.
To be honest, my nanny was. Oh, she loved the jawline.
She sounds like a human being.
Stunning.
I just stopped talking.
Yep. The cart sits there
Oh, you
motionless.
can't be rude about my nanny. Oh, nanny was a wonderful woman.
I would
Yeah,
like
she
to come
made you what you are
barreling
today. Yeah.
out of the dark.
You've gone in the wrong direction. You do not come barreling out of the dark.
Okay. Good. I was so ready to move the plot along.
I know, but like, were you? Because you ran off in the wrong direction. Yeah, the cart sits motionless on the road as Prince Otto talks about his nanny some more.
Can I put my sack over his head?
You could try. It's very dark. Again, I will point out, it's extremely dark.
Can we just make the horses move?
You could try. Might be hard to get them going in the right direction, given how dark it is. I don't know how many times I have to comment on how dark it is.
You can only go. Can we try and light the lamp again?
Gosh, could you? Yeah, maybe.
Look, if Marco
I don't have
wanted
any
us
lard.
to see,
You don't. There's plenty of lard on it still. Like it's just
okay.
gone out. You just relight it.
Okay. Yeah. I'd like to light the lantern.
Incredible. You've solved my puzzle that just wasn't a puzzle in any way, shape, or form. It was just lighting a lantern. You hit the striker on the lantern a couple of times. Sparks flit and fly, and the lantern flares back into life. Keeve, you see a lantern light like off to your left somewhere, and then also see between you and this lantern three sort of pigeon-sized things flapping around in the air in a very sort of carnivorous moth kind of way. I'll just hold up the post-it note here that says pigeon-sized moths on it.
Yeah.
And you see them heading towards this freshly lit light source.
Hooray! I follow them with my femur out, screaming. Like a Doppler effect, like as I come in between trees, following them back to the light.
You hear the telltale scream of bloodless Keeve turn in that direction and make out from the little corona of light being cast by your lantern that there are these three pigeon-sized moths with this kind of central, like scythe-like mandible that kind of hangs from the sort of throats of these things as they flit in your direction. I'd say you all have an action before they arrive at the cart.
I'm gonna throw my shoe.
She's gonna throw a shoe.
The death's shoe, not
your actual shoe. No, I got that. Do it.
Yeah.
Toss that shit.
Toss that shit. That's a 2, so I miss.
You do. It swings out, but still returns to your hand.
I just shrug.
Anyone else can just jump in.
I would like to grab one. Sorry, you go.
No.
Fire your sling. Do it.
Yeah, go for it.
17?
17 is
agility?
17, yes. No, it's presence for ranged attacks. Yeah.
Still 0, so 17.
17. It's going to hit. Roll some damage for that sling.
That would be 3.
3 points of damage. You watch as Gelsbrig. Is it just a stone? Just an ordinary stone?
It is a flat, fist-sized rock.
Nice.
That I may have daubed a little bit of a symbol of Varka on. You know, for consistency.
Pop it into the sling, whirl the sling around, and launch this stone out, and you see it just obliterate one of these moths. Just goes right through it, and it pitches to the ground with a pigeon-sized thud as the other two of them continue on. Otto, what you got? Sorry, Prince Otto, sorry.
Yeah, Your Highness will suffice.
You'll be lucky. So...
I would like to unsling my bow and fire an arrow at one of the pigeon-sized carnivorous moths.
I wish that you would. Make me a presence roll, please.
I shall. My presence, I think, recall it is +1, I think. Yes, it is. Right. Oh, a natty 20.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's gonna
For a 21. So yeah.
that's gonna double the damage. As you draw the bow, grab an arrow, draw back. You can hear Kring from wherever it is you left him, whether you sheathed him or not.
Probably still left him stuck in the
wood. Didn't pull him out yet. You can just hear him going, "A coward's weapon! A coward's weapon!" As you draw the bow and loose. Roll me damage and then double it.
For fuck's sake. I rolled a 2, so 4.
4, still enough to take out one of these moths. Your arrow pierces into it and it thuds to the ground. And you hear Kring, who's sort of mid screaming the words "coward's weapon," kind of pause for a second and go, "Okay, fine, not bad."
Bonding.
There's one of these things left. Keith, I'd love for you to make me an agility roll to see if you could catch up to take a swing at one of these things.
Okay. Will a 3 do?
A 3 will not do. You're still running, screaming, holding a femur. Okay, I'm going to drop us into the same turn order that we had. There's only one left, and Bloodless Keith's at the top of that turn order. So, as this last pigeon-sized moth flies kind of towards the light source, and then you see it kind of veer off towards the three of you in the cart with this mandible kind of scything through the air towards you guys. You can also see, as its wings flit, there is this powdery dust kind of emanating off this thing. But before it gets close enough to any of you to attack, Bloodless Keith, do your thing.
I would like to attempt to grab it.
Go
if
for
I
it.
can.
Yeah, give me an attack roll, give me a strength roll.
Okay, will an 18 do?
An 18 will absolutely do. You grasp, you leap up, and just grab this thing.
I would like to pull its head off.
You know what? Roll me a d4.
Okay.
I'll let that 18 ride. 4, yeah. Suddenly, Bloodless Keith appears out of nowhere, hurls his femur to the side, grabs this pigeon-sized moth, wrenches it down, and just kind of pulls. Yeah, I mean, pulls. Moths have weird heads, but you just rip that thing out, and a lot of the inside of the moth kind of comes with it, and yeah, you're standing there, kind of covered in that weird kind of silvery gold blood that moths have.
We all know and understand this, yes.
I don't understand it, but well, I mean, you know, that's the color they look like when you squish them.
And I say, "You came back for me. You came back for me."
As was always planned, in Barker's great plan, we were coming to save you, of course. Don't ask any further questions.
We just let it hang in the air there for a minute before I climb back into the car.
Yeah.
I'm yet again disappointed that I've killed an enemy with no teeth.
Yeah, sorry, you've killed 2 enemies. 2 enemies. Bloodless Keith, MVP. Would you like to get back on the cart?
Yes,
Keith?
I would.
All right. You hop back onto the cart. The light source is putting out enough light for you to find your way back onto the road as was intended. And your journey continues onward. Who's lost hit points at this point? I think is it only Bloodless Keith? I am not trying hard enough. And I genuinely did try and kill you there. Would you like to catch your breath, Bloodless Keith, and see if you can refill any hit points?
Sure.
And don't say no, because, you know.
No, I'd like to stab myself in the...
He just gets on the cart too fast and decapitates himself with a sword.
Just roll around in the caltrops.
Well, it is dark and it's a black sword, so...
It's true.
How do I catch my breath?
You roll a d4 and heal up a d4 of damage.
Okay,
As long as you have
heal
something to
2.
eat or drink.
Cool.
You got some lard left. You can just eat some lard.
I eat the moth.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
You take a munch on this moth. It doesn't taste
Watch the
good,
moth.
but it's enough to give you a d4's worth of healing.
Cowardry.
Yeah.
And so continues your little cart ride down the road. You guys continue on for another couple of hours, and what passes for dawn in this world, which is only marginally brighter than the night times, since the prophecies of the two-headed basilisks began to come true, great prophecies of Verhu. Dawn begins to break. This world's sun, which seems tired and diseased, begins to crawl over the horizon, kind of draping the land in a sickly yellowish glow. But what it does do is give you a much more visibility than you've had for this entire journey. And ahead of you, you can see kind of a little, not quite a speck, a mid-sized speck on the horizon on the road that you guys are on. And it's moving a little slower than you guys are. But it's definitely heading in the same direction as you. It's not coming the other way, it's moving off. And I'd love a presence test from everybody, please.
Ooh. 13. No, 14.
17.
Ooh.
8.
Nice.
Bloodless Keeve, what I'll give you is you squint in a really horrible way. Yeah, like that. This 100%, this is a cart ahead of you with several figures, some on it and others walking alongside it. And you get, there's kind of a procession vibe to it. They could be going faster, but they aren't.
Okay.
Gelsbrig, you get the same thing, but what you also get is kind of squinting over the horizon as the sun is kind of cresting a few hills in rather an unpleasant manner. You see ahead of you the sort of wreathed a little bit in mist, but the shape of what you know to be likely to be the palace of the Shadow King. This is many stories, many myths. The Shadow King is kind of a dark figure in the history of this world. Kind of a sort of half-failed Dark Lord. Basically, did a lot of bad stuff back in the day, was vanquished, came back, got vanquished again, came back, and then rumor has it he simply sits in his keep, being attended by his death servants. And you know that his keep sits in sort of just within the environs of the massive graveyard of Graventosk. This is an impossibly sized and dimensioned graveyard. It's kind of perceptible from the outside, but myth and rumor has it that once you've entered, it's almost impossible to get out, and it just stretches impossibly across the landscape. You can't quite see the graveyard itself as the mist is kind of hanging low, but you can see the peaks of this castle, this keep, and this road, if kept straight, that's where it leads.
I see.
And that's certainly the direction that this cart ahead of you seems to be moving in.
I will say to the group as I spot this, by Varka's bloodshot eyes, I can see in the distance the keep of the Shadow King. It looks nice. We should go visit.
Listen, I'm not saying anything about Varka, but I'm pretty sure it's a car.
Yeah.
See, like, it's
yes.
got the people, and it's...
I
I mean,
one
if
eye.
a car is a home, that's okay. You know, I'm not judging. And I just put a hand on your shoulder, and then I'm like, ah!
I go to put my hand on your hand.
You've spent enough time with Gelsbury to just be like, no! Get away
She's got
from
like
me!
a spritz bottle. Yeah. I can see very little because I've got one eye and that eye has conjunctivitis.
Heavy conjunctivitis.
Yeah.
You're looking through a sort of pinhole-sized gap in the conjunctivitis. Yeah.
I'm just making sure that Barbarista is still following us.
Yeah,
and making sure that Twinkle is okay.
Is it Twinkle or was it Tinkle?
Tinkle. Yeah, Tinkle. Yeah.
Tinkle.
Yeah, Twinkle
Yes.
is his dead twin brother.
Is his dead twin brother? Yeah, everyone's got a dead twin brother in this game. Even those of you who haven't said you do, you don't know about them, but they are real and
You ate
dead.
them in the woods.
Tinkle's okay. He seems a little bit shaken up by the cart ride and the fight, but you know he's calmed down a little bit in the last couple of hours. Yes, Barbarista is still there, trotting kind of disdainfully alongside the cart.
Did he tread on any caltraps?
No, I'm going to go ahead and assume, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, that Gelsbrig has gathered his caltrops back up again.
I will gather them very, very carefully and give my blessings to each and every one of them individually for helping us.
Yeah, paying special attention to any that were like trodden on at all, or maybe have a little blood on them. Yeah.
I asked someone to go and pick up my arrow because A, it was a long way away, and B, it was now dirty.
I'm sure Keith would have done that.
There is I believe, I'll have you roll for this. There is a presence roll to convince Barbarista to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a DL 14?
It is a 2 seconds, and
I think it is.
Tell you.
If my memory of the game serves.
While that's happening, can I?
It doesn't actually say. It just says.
Doesn't actually say.
If you can persuade him, it's a +2 to presence tests involving logic and intellect.
If
I can persuade him, but it doesn't actually give me a DR, so I'm guessing
just give me a presence roll. Let's see how you do.
13. 1-3.
He so begrudgingly and complaining all the way went over, picked the arrow up at his mouth, and brought it back to you. But yeah, you did get the arrow back. But
I do give him an almost, not quite, an almost mouldy head of a carrot that I find in my bag somewhere, and just give it. It's literally just the head, like this much a carrot, and the rest of his like wilted greenery from the top.
He looks disdainfully at this half carrot. Look, I'm going to eat this. But I don't want you to get any ideas about this being the quality of food that you should be feeding me. Do you have any idea who I am?
Oh, Barbarista, were you not listening to me when on the entire journey when I was telling you about the deal that we made with the Lord? We can have pristine carrots. We can have sugar lumps.
Yes,
or just imagine the sugar lumps
coming off of this. I'm hearing a lot of could coming off of this. And honestly, I've never seen you deliver on anything in your entire life.
But I don't deliver. I'm a prince.
No,
I have people to deliver for me.
Yes, and he kind of looks at the people that you have to deliver for you on this cart. Don't fancy your chances,
I kind of put my hand to one side and sort of... What? These are not the normal sort of people that we associate with, is it, Barbarista? We normally have much better help.
I don't love
better help.
I don't love the we. I don't love that. I don't love the idea that we're not there. And he trots away. He stays, abreast of the cart, but he trots away. Yeah. This cart is moving forwards. There is the other one ahead of you. What would you like to do?
A funerary procession.
It looked more ceremonial than funerary, but that is a fine line. Could be.
Okay.
Not quite close enough to make out more than that.
The people we could see with the cart look like armed?
Not obviously. Extreme.
Okay, I think we should trot up and say hello. I will go to the horses and give them a little yah thingy.
Yeah.
I start preparing my pamphlets.
As the cart jolts forward, I stumble back, and as I'm holding the sword, just twink. Oh, Kling! I finally got you out of the post.
No damage incurred, but your hand lurches back, and the flat of the blade just smacks you in the forehead.
I've been stuck in this cart for hours.
Well, to be honest, so have I, and not sure I really quite like it, you know. I mean, so I'm much used to finer travelling, the velvet seats, the leather suspension,
Kring
the squeak of the wheels. Oh, it does such wonders for me.
Kring starts doing that thing he does where he starts to vibrate in your hand that is usually the herald of him cutting you or someone else if you don't sheathe him right now. You can feel the rage seething off of this blade.
I've carefully, because I mean, although he's not a perceptive man, he's seen the sword like this before, so he very carefully slides the sword back into its velvet-lined scabbard.
You sheathe him, and there is this anguished and angry scream of revenge as you sheath this blade.
I just imagine him struggling to get it in there. He keeps trying to pull himself back out. It's like, no, we're going into there now.
Go to sleep.
They're trying to put a cloth over the pommel to make it.
he rattles in his scabbard a few times and then seems to give up.
The special leather straps at the top of the thing to hold him in there, you know?
To keep him in
with buckles and everything.
And unless there are any objections, Bloodless Keeve whips the horses. He's got spurs. He gets on them. He's a cowboy. Whips
I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Into action, or at least as much action as these horses are capable of, which is not a lot. But they do make an effort to go faster. You begin to close after a little while on this other cart. Now that you get closer, you can see the sort of bed of this cart is occupied by a very large stone box that I would use the word casket.
Cool.
Even sarcophagus.
Okay. The question: does it have hinges or does it not have hinges? Because that's really important to classification.
It doesn't appear to have hinges. What it does have are these bulky stone seals around the outside of it. There are three. There are three along the right-hand side, three along the left-hand side, one at the top, one at the bottom.
This is the boy we're looking for.
My maths has failed me there. There are 7. This is what?
We can't see one of them, so we assume
it's fine.
there is one.
I said 3. Not. I said 3, 3, and 2. I didn't mean that. I meant 3, 3, and 1. 3 on the right, 3 on the left, 1 at the top. There are 2 men sort of riding in the cart with it, one at the reins and one sort of in the back. He's mostly perched on the edge of the cart. It's not a lot of space with this sarcophagus in there. And the other 5 men walk respectfully, I think is the only way I can describe it. On the outside of the cart, walking along with it. It's moving very slowly. All of them are dressed in very dirty white robes with hoods pulled up over them. You can't see legs, hands, faces, any of that. Approaching them from behind, they are robed shapes.
I would like... Oh, no.
No, I'm just going to ask, this is the thing that we want. Do we have to take the thing back? Open it, not open it? What's the vibe?
You were told to bring it back.
Okay.
And the phrase you were told was, return, 7 seals unbroken.
Okay.
So
Cool
not
beans.
open it, yeah.
Can I threaten our horses?
This is a wonderful world of dice-based imagination.
Yes.
And in that world, you can threaten a horse.
Yeah.
And actually, me personally, I'm okay with you threatening a horse in real life. Like I don't
I mean,
like
they can't
them.
understand English.
I don't like horses. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry,
like
chap.
horses.
All of our horses
They're
can.
pretty cool.
Sorry.
I nearly got killed by one, but I do
This
like
is
horses.
one of the main reasons I
Yeah.
don't like them. Anyway, please roll to fulfill your darkest fantasy and
Cool.
threaten a horse. I'll say it's going to be presence. It's the catch-all
Cool.
stat.
So that's a 16.
What effect are you hoping to get from
I
threatening our horses?
I would like to do a deep guttural, like, at our horses, and get them to basically stampede over some of these guys.
Oh boy. Okay.
Love that for you.
Haga has taken the initiative, shall we say.
I love that for her.
And you get up as close to the backs of these two horses as you can and just roar/growl.
Yeah.
And they, panicked, begin to sort of just sprint directly forwards. And they charge towards this other little convoy. Please roll initiative, everybody. Haga has charged you into what is now a fight.
Is that is it just a flat roll, or is it?
It's a d6 plus your agility.
That's
Ha!
right.
-3? No, minus 1. Sorry.
Yes, plus or minus. Just give me a held up with your hand what your result was.
-1.
-1.
No, I got 1 minus
okay.
2, sorry. So it's -1.
I guess you don't get to go. No, so we've got Galgenbeck with a 5 at the top. We've got 4s for Prince Otto
My
and
agility's 0.
Bloodless Kiev.
Mine is -1.
-1. So we've got Bloodless Kiev next, then Prince Otto, then Haga down the bottom. And as these horses charge, let's see if some of these guys have a chance to get out of the way first. As I roll a d6 to see who's going to go first at the top of the round. It's a 6. It's you guys. Oh boy. As your two horses just barrel forwards, Haga, I'll ask you, are you attempting to run this into the back of the cart?
No,
Of their
I'm going to
cart?
run
You're
over
trying to
yeah.
you're trying to plow through some of the guys on the outside. You have got 3 guys on one side of the cart, 2 guys on the other side.
Well, we're going for the 3 guys.
Going for the 3 guys.
Yeah.
All
This
right.
is the trolley problem, but for winners.
Let's see how they do. I'm going to make some agility rolls for these guys.
I mean, they're
First
going very
one.
slowly.
12. He leaps. He turns, hearing the sound of thundering, arthritically thundering hooves and a cart, and leaps into the earth on the not into the earth, but like onto the earth. like a terrifying mole. He just disappears. He jumps to the side and is uncrushed by horses. Second guy, 18, also leaps to the side. Third,
Hey, can I use an omen to force a reroll on one of those guys?
yeah, you can.
I would like
Would
to
you
use
like
an
to
omen.
would you like to re-roll the second one or the third one? Because both were successes.
The second one.
All right, he's going to re-roll. Third guy got a 17 and got out of the way. I'm so sorry.
You're rolling too well.
10. That's not a 12. He's hit
Yay.
by a horse.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Could you please roll me a d8 of trampling damage, please, Beth?
Yes.
Hey team, you getting ready to go bonkers?
7.
7.
Yeah.
He is killed instantly as this horse just the guy. So this was the second guy. First guy turns, leaps to the side. This one swings around. You can't really see a face under the hood at this point, but he turns. The head of the horse kind of knocks him backwards. He thumps onto his back on the ground, and then 2 hooves just go like sternum to neck to head and just thump, 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 and just crush him completely. His skull cracks and he is dead. Incredible work. Top of the order, Galgenbeck, what are you doing? As your cart has flung past, the third guy jumps out of the way, so you're sort of coming past the other cart on its left-hand side.
Yeah, so I mean, I was sat there preparing my pamphlets so that I could bring these people the good news. But as we crash into the back of them, I see there's a far more direct application of faith at hand. So I'm going to bring out the sling and send my blessings in a far more direct manner to the back of the head of one of these guys who wasn't hit by a horse.
Love it. One of the guys on the ground.
Yeah, go on.
Make a presence roll for me for sling attack.
That would be a natural 1.
Okay.
You have a Benny. You can use an
You-
omen
Oh,
to
that's
do
an
a
omen.
I do have
reroll
an omen.
to
So
neutralize.
so what the omen will do will just make that a normal failure, rather than the unpleasant thing I'll do if you, yeah.
I'll use my omen and turn that into a normal failure.
All right, you whirl the sling, fling one of these blood-marked, fist-sized rocks, and it misses one of these guys on the ground, ricochets up and kind of clatters against the underside of their cart, unfortunately, doing no harm. Is there anywhere you'd like to go? Remember, combat rounds, you've got like an action and some movement. It's pretty loosey-goosey. If you wanted to try and jump off the cart, I'd be okay with that. Obviously, it's in motion, so that might not be the best idea, but...
After missing horribly, I'll sort of move to, I guess, the side wall of our cart and kind of duck down, almost like taking
Nice.
cover.
All right. Bloodless Keeve.
Cool. I'm gonna make a tactical move. And
yeah.
I'm gonna jump off our cart onto theirs, and then I want to essentially remove their form of transport by leasing the horses, as it were.
Oh, nice. You want to sort of like slash the bridle, the ropes that connect to the bridle. Again, don't at me, people who know how horses work.
Got legs.
Okay, this feels like a two-step plan.
Cool.
Let's have an agility roll to leap from this cart to the other.
Will a 12 do?
A 12 will just do it. You
Yeah.
jump,
Scramble.
land, slightly awkwardly on the sort of lip of the edge of this cart, just keeping your balance over the top of this casket. The two guys who are in this cart kind of turn to look at you. One of them's sat up, holding the reins. The other was sort of sitting by the side of the casket. You see them, well, one of them turns, the one with the reins turns. The guy on the side turns to look at you, and you can just see underneath his hood.
There's no face.
His
We knew
eyes.
that.
No, there is a face. There's a nose and a mouth. It's just that his eye sockets are empty. Not bleeding.
Get
just,
in line.
Just empty. But there's where his hood is kind of covering his forehead. There's something going on up there on the forehead, but you can't quite see it. And just
hope
in
it's a
response
mouth
to you leaping
with
onto
more
the
teeth.
cart, he draws a really unpleasant-looking dagger, which is kind of serrated down one edge, but it's still
It's a
your
bread
turn.
knife.
You've leapt onto the cart. If you make an attack roll to... Do you have anything that could cut reins?
I have a femur, so my intention was just to like smash like the wood, like you know that they have the thing.
Oh,
and
the
then
two
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
heart things. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my move in my head.
All right, make me an attack roll.
Okay. So it's a 2.
That's not good.
Gonk.
I'm just like bonk, and nothing happens.
Pretty much. You sort of
Yeah.
swing down past the guy who's on the reins and sort of thud into the... you hit the sort of metal bolt that's holding this wooden piece in place, and the femur just bounces off it. No
Okay.
harm done.
I would like to, not as part of my turn, but like essentially like get down and start like attempting to unthread the bolt, which will take me way too long. Thank you.
Sure, right in front of this guy. Yeah. Like you're in his space, like trying to. You're
like,
reaching.
excuse me.
Yeah, you're like reaching sort of just between his knees to try and get to this thing. Yeah. But it's not his turn, so he can't do anything. Prince Otto.
I would like, as the two carts put up alongside, and obviously Bloodless Keeve hurls himself box-like onto the
Yes.
the cart.
Absolutely.
I would like to unsheath Kring in a magnificent move without trying to actually stick it into the wood behind me, and swing at the chap driving.
Oh, fantastic! As you kind of swing past, I love that. I'm going to give that to you. As you draw Kring, and Kring kind of, you're not really sure how his perception of the world works, but he certainly seems more aware of what's happening around him when he's out of the sheath to when he's not.
He's lined with lead.
As you draw the blade, you draw the blade out into a very heroic pose, and you just hear him, yes. Please make an attack on the guy manning the horses.
Which is strength, I think, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So strength is a -1. So, which then was a 19, so -1, 18.
18. That's gonna hit.
Nice.
Roll me some damage.
And I think the blade of my ancestors is a d6 +1.
Nice.
Actually, it says attack defense DR is 10, so
Great. So that just means
hits
when,
really easily,
you're wielding Kring, it's a lot easier
much
to hit and
much
defend.
easier to hit. Yeah.
He's
So
magic.
d6 +1 is a 4.
A 4. Perfect.
Yes.
You swing into this guy, and you don't cut him down, but you do carve across his shoulder. It's lucky, Bloodless Keeve, that you reached down to start hammering away at that bolt, because as you duck, Prince Otto comes in behind you, like kind of leaning off his cart to swing this sword as it comes past, carving into the arm of the driver. And he lets out a sort of tooth-gritted hiss as this blade slices into his shoulder and draws blood.
You just hear Prince Otto shout out, "That's for my nanny."
And much louder than your sort of weak little war cry. You just
It is. It's a feeble, pathetic war cry.
You just hear Kring as a little of the blood is taken with him after the wound. Just, yes, I feast. As you swing the sword. Yeah,
I'm guessing the blood sort of just soaks
the blood
into
is
the...
absorbed into the blade. Of course it is. Except I think just to make this less, more unpleasant, it's absorbed into the blade with a sound like a full sucking, a really unpleasant, like, yeah.
You almost see
Absolutely.
you almost see in the length of the blade like a just the brief image of a tongue flicking down the blade, inside the blade.
Yeah, that's not dark, that's darkness inside it.
Okay, at the bottom of the order, Haga, what is your move?
I'm gonna throw a shoe.
Throw a shoe.
Yep. I'm gonna aim for the driver.
Yeah,
I just imagine Haga having a
driver.
bag full of shoes and just throwing them at people.
The shoe of death's horse.
That is a 14, so
14
it's a success.
Is gonna hit. Absolutely. Roll me. Well, yes. Let's roll the d6 to see if it kills him instantly first.
Oh, it's a 4.
Okay. Roll standard damage.
Standard damage. That's a 2.
Your horseshoe cracks into this guy's, like, the temple on the side of the... He's still got his hood up, but you hear this audible crack as it ricochets off back to your hand. He doesn't go down, but he lurches sideways, like atop the cart, clearly very stunned, and his hood sort of falls back, and you can see like a big kind of wound here on the side of his head, right in the temple where the horseshoe has hit him. And as his hood falls back, you see the face of a man, mouth, nose, empty eye sockets, and then his forehead, as it's revealed, simply has a numerical 7 carved into it 7 times across the forehead, all of which are gently bleeding, though the blood is more black than red. And he shouts and like lurches to the side. He is barely hanging on in the at the top of the cart there.
Nice.
Which takes us down, unless Haga's going to try and go anywhere or do anything else.
I don't think I can, because my instinct would be to throw any stray caltraps, but I don't.
Yeah, I think they all got
someone else's
collected.
weapon.
Yeah. Okay, D6 roll to see. Oh wait, no, they get to go.
Yeah, I just want to growl at them
forgot.
also, just because I'm threatening.
Bottom of the order, these berobed men are going to begin to move. First, the ones up in the on the cart. One of them, the one who was stunned, is going to take he shakily draws another one of these serrated daggers from somewhere inside the robe, and he takes a stab at you, Bloodless Keeve. I only need you to hit a 10 on your defense roll to block this, because this guy's reeling. He is barely conscious.
Defense roll is
agility. It's good for you.
Cool. A 12.
A 12. His knife swings down and you pull back just in time for it to kind of thunk uselessly against the wood. At the same time, the one sitting on the edge of the cart behind you has sort of moved over with his own blade and stabs at your back. I need a roll from you here. This will be a 12. It's a 2. Little bit of damage coming your way, Bloodless Keeve. I got 3 points of damage. How much armor
I
you got?
3 negating.
His blade slashes down and is just deflected by your armor. You feel it kind of knock hard into your back, but you are largely unhurt. Back on the ground, the remaining gentleman, shall we say, one of whom has been crushed by a horse.
Hell yeah.
Begin to your cart's moving away. There's not a huge amount they can do in this moment. You see them all draw these knives, and the remaining 4 of them are on the ground. 2 begin to move towards the cart, their cart, and 2 begin to move almost to sort of chase yours, the one that's moving away. And that will take us to the bottom of the turn. I'm going to roll to see if it's them or you guys next.
Nice.
It is them, which isn't great for Bloodless Keeve because there's 2 more attacks coming his way.
Just try and kill me.
I am. Defense on a 10 for the first guy because he is still reeling.
14. Get
He
fucked.
tries to stab you again, and you just dodge out of the way. Another defense roll, please.
It's a 3.
It's a 3. Some more damage coming your way. Roll your armor. What do you get?
What did you get?
I got 2. Also, I'm
I
in
got a
charge.
3.
Also, I'm in charge, and you have to tell me first. Again, Bloodless Keeve is just this little cube of a man is just up on this cart. These 2 guys are trying to stab him. One of them has succeeded in stabbing him twice, and just seemingly cannot
Just keeps getting the
get
arm
through
hit.
the
And I'm
armor,
just
just
like
getting
this.
stuck. Keeve, you become aware that 2 more of these guys are beginning to haul themselves up onto the cart now.
Try and kill me.
You are about to be surrounded by 4 of these dudes, but that will be on your next turn. 2 more of them begin to they've kind of rushed after the cart. Gonna make a little agility roll to see if either of them are quick enough on their toes to leap onto the cart. Let's see. First one jumps. You see him like leap for the cart, and he misses it completely, just face plants into the ground. Second one makes it by a sizable amount. He not only does he grab hold, he pulls himself up onto the cart with this blade out, and hisses at the 3 of you up on the cart.
It's a hiss off.
He hisses,
You will not halt the ceremony.
as he begins to move towards you with his knife.
Will.
Galsbrigg, you are up first.
Okay. You say this guy's up on the wagon with us now?
He is, should you desire, in melee range.
High five. Oh.
Well, Galsbrigg had a slight crisis of faith for a second because he saw that one of these guys had a bunch of 7s carved into his head and black blood. So before he does anything, he's just going to look away and talk to himself for a moment and go, Barker, quick check-in, my lord. Are these our guys or horrible, horrible heretics? And from the incoherent screaming that I assume just comes back, he nods to himself and goes, heretics. Good, 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 good. And he is going to launch himself at the vile heretic that is now aboard the wagon and attempt to clasp his hands to his face with the ichor of rot.
I wish that you would. I think that's a melee attack, right?
It is.
So roll me strength, please. You'll need a 12. Unless your ability says otherwise.
My ability, DR12 attack, yes.
Yeah, great.
Okay. So I have a 16 plus 1 because I'm actually quite strong.
Nice.
He's stronger than he looks, this guy.
I'm wiry.
You launch yourself suddenly. Like, you have a moment of, like, quiet reflection as you try to work out whether or not this is someone you should be attacking. And then suddenly, like, yes, okay. Like, lunge at this guy and clasp both hands. You reach, like, under the hood, and as you do, it falls back, and you see this guy has 7 sevens and no eyes. And, you know, as you grasp hold of this heretic's face, Ichor of Rot, what does Ichor of Rot do?
So, the foul fluids of my god's rot end up wiped upon your skin, and you must take a DR12 toughness test or descend into frothing spasms for 2 turns.
Oh, hell
Lovely.
yeah.
DR12 toughness.
It is.
He's
That's
getting
a-
frothing.
That's a 19. You
Force a
watch-
reroll.
you
Force a
wa-
reroll.
you
Use your
could-
Benny.
You could do
I already
that if
used
you. I think
I
he only
used
had one and it was already used.
Sadly.
You watch as the ichor that you emit constantly, like, runs down the side of this guy's face into the sort of grooves close to the mouth, and he just drinks it
Oh dear.
That's nasty.
and does not seem perturbed at all by what you've just done, unfortunately. Bloodless Keith, you're up. There's
Cool.
one guy sat still vaguely steering these horses, but
Yeah.
who looks ready to drop. One behind you who's been fruitlessly trying to stab you, and 2 more who are attempting to climb up onto the cart to get to you.
Great. I'm going to grab the knife that went in next to me and cut the reins.
Great.
Cool. Do I need to roll?
Yeah, it's a tabletop role playing game, so like, yeah, you kind of like, yeah.
But I'm so cute, though.
I know, but you know, I can't
Okay.
show favoritism, not on stream. Make me an agility roll, please, to snatch this knife.
So,
That one.
yeah.
Cut your hands off.
You don't cut your hands off, but you do cut your hands.
Hooray!
Here's some damage coming your way that your armor will do nothing about.
Hooray!
That is 2 points of damage as you
Okay.
slice your hand on this knife. Bloodless Keeve, as you cut yourself on this knife,
Ooh.
I would like you to roll a d12, please.
Ooh.
And I would like you to tell me what you get.
7, obviously.
You got a 7?
Yeah. Do you want to see it?
I believe you. You guys watch as Bloodless Keeve reaches down to grab this knife, slices his hand on it. You hear him scream briefly, and then watch as seemingly all of the fluid is drawn from his body.
Bloodless!
And he dies instantly.
Shit. I turn into a little husk.
Dried in seconds, the fluid is drawn from the body. You can't tell where it's going either. It's almost sort of misting into the air, and then where once there was this relatively hearty kind of cube of a man, there is a shriveled papery husk that topples from the cart, and as it hits the ground, just into dust as Bloodless Keeve dies.
It's what he would have wanted.
Frequently.
There's one with vodka now.
Okay, producer John in my ear tells me that this might be a great time to take a little 30-second break because of ads. So we're going to do that right now as we mourn the loss of poor, sweet Bloodless Keeve.
Bloodless Keith. Bloodless Keith. Bloodless Keith. Bloodless Keith.
Yeah.
Well, for a peasant, he was quite a nice fellow, to be honest with you.
He was definitely conscious.
Listen.
Take my little post-it note that
Yeah.
says Bloodless Keeve on it.
Are you gonna
and,
tear it? No!
He did.
Oh, beans. Insidious is the advert that I'm getting, by the way. Just in case
Ah.
other people were wondering.
I'm getting Amazon.
Oh.
Add one of
yes.
3.
Oh, I'm only getting 1 ad each time.
Oh yeah, we're back now. So
Hooray!
Great. Hello.
Hooray! Welcome
We've
back
come
to
back
our
from
morning party.
ads. Bloodless Keeve is dead. And before we've got a chance to mourn him at all, it's Prince Otto's turn.
I would like, as obviously the carts are, our cart is slowly pulling ahead of theirs.
Yes.
I swung and hit the chap driving. I would like to swing the sword heroically, so the spin round in a hand sort of thing, which I'm guessing will work because Kring will want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And try and decapitate one of the horses.
Oh, gross.
Oh, horse. Actually, it's probably also an eyeless horse with 7s on.
Yeah,
so-
probably. Yeah, so there are 7 scratched all over it.
Go for it. Give me an attack roll, please.
Which is a DR10, I believe.
Mm-hmm. For
We're
Kring.
using Kring. I got an 18 again, so that was quite good.
That's gonna hit. Give me some damage.
Which is a 6 plus 1, which is a 5.
5 total. I'll say you don't quite decapitate this horse, but you do carve down enough for it to for you to realize that first you're absolutely right, this horse has no eyes and has 7 sevens carved into the sort of front of its face. It shrieks and kind of topples to the ground, and yeah, you've succeeded in, for now at least, stopping the motion of this cart.
Does the other horse have a knife?
Yeah, it's got a knife taped to one of its hooves. Yeah. Next up in the turn order is going to be Haga.
Haga is gonna take her sword and try and cut this guy down. The one who just resisted.
Yes, the one who just jumped onto the cart. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's that's a 15.
15's going to hit. Roll me some damage.
Nice. 3.
3 points of damage. You move forward as Gelsbrigg steps back after having clasped this guy's face and hack into him with this sword, slashing at one of his shoulders. And he bleeds and experiences pain.
I should probably have bitten him, but hey.
It's all good. That will take us to the back to the top of the order as they went first this round. Let's see if it's you guys or them. It's you guys.
Yeah.
We return to the top of the order with Gelsbrigg.
See, well, as I step back and watch this man get stabbed, I will pull out my sling, I think, and say, it appears you are testing me, Varka. Well, once more into the breach, and I fling the fish-shaped rock at this man's face.
Amazing. Yeah, you got just enough space for a ranged attack here, but this is extreme close range. You whirl the sling and make me a presence roll.
That is a 13.
13 is going to hit. Roll me some damage.
That would be 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage. Haga, you've just slashed into this guy. He takes a sort of step back as you carve one of his shoulders. You see him like ready his knife, and then a stone hits him dead center of the forehead, and he is flung from the back of the cart, stone dead. Nice. Literally. Feel bad
That's
about
what
that.
you get for being a heretic.
Prince Otto, you're up next.
Oh yes, of course I am. So
yeah, the turns come thick and fast here.
Yeah.
And sometimes they come simultaneously, like after each other.
Right after each other. So we are now rolling away. How many people are left alive?
Left alive are
3.
So there are 4 on the other cart where Bloodless Keith just was, and
There's the guy who fell over.
Yes, so the guy who fell over. So there's one guy on the ground, like in the wake of your cart, and then there are 4 guys on the opposing cart, one of whom is barely alive, the driver.
So I think where Kring has now got probably quite a lot of bloodlust here.
Oh, Kring's having a nice time.
He's howling like a demented banshee.
Yeah.
Like demented bandsaw, I think, actually, probably.
Yeah.
I almost feel myself flung over the back of the cart to try and impale the guy that fell on the floor.
Great. Make me a strength roll to leap from the cart and try and land on this guy.
That is a 10.
A 10 will exactly do it, I believe, with Kring.
I rolled an 11 with a -1 strength. So
nice. Roll me some damage, please.
that is a 4 in total.
4 points of damage total. Lovely. You leap and bring the sword down. He's sort of managed to right himself slightly, and he turns his body just at the last minute, and you pierce the sword like right through his shoulder. And as you do, as you've kind of landed in this heroic pose, thrusting through the sword, you see, just like as you've landed ahead of you, you can see Barbarista is just sort of regarding you, and you just see him go, eh. At your performance. Next up in the turn order will be Haga.
Cool. Haga. Was the guy on the floor dead?
Nope. He's got
Nice.
a sword in him, though.
Cool. I'm gonna lob my shoe at him.
That's what we do.
That's
we
what
lob
we
a shoe.
do. We lob a shoe.
Put it on a t-shirt.
That is a nat 20.
Oh boy. Roll me damage and double it, please.
Yeah.
Obliterate that lad.
Do I get to roll the 6 twice?
Ooh. You know what? Yes.
Yeah. 6.
Ha!
He dead. He's very dead.
Prince Otto, you are heroically like standing as this guy kneels with your sword thrust through him. You look up, you see the disrespectful expression of your weird Disney horse, and then at that exact moment, a spinning horseshoe passes through this guy's head, exploding it like a watermelon, and just covering you in blood. You are it's like when you turn a blender on without the lid, and there is just a geyser of blood and brain matter and bone as you kill this guy.
It's just like those afternoons with Nanny.
Okay.
Once a month.
I'm not
no.
going into that. I'm not going into that.
Well, we can only find enough people to actually murder once a month, so it's fine. I mean, we needed to keep servants, so it's fine.
Next up is that takes us to the bottom of the order with these cultist gentlemen who are going to the ones who aren't extremely badly wounded, which is just the driver of the cart. These 3 remaining are going to leap down, draw their daggers, and rush towards Prince Otto, who is on the ground in front of them. Prince Otto, there are 3 attacks coming your way as these guys close on you. I would like you to make 3 defense rolls, please, with Kring. So you only need a 10.
Okay, so I only need a 10, and it's
agility.
Agility, which
That's right.
I think is +0. No, it's -1.
Okay.
Oh, good. Right, so that is a 12 in total.
Deflects the first. Kring leaps out, deflects the first.
That is a 14 in total.
Second is knocked aside as his blade whirls in the air.
That is a 16 in total.
3 attacks. Anyone
Ping, ping,
watching
ping.
really does get the impression that Prince Otto is just holding the sword.
It's just being
The
dragged around.
sword is doing the work.
It's like I'm a marionette being sort of just
just deflected all the way. absolutely incredible work. I'm going to say the guy on the who was manning that cart, which is now stopped because one of the horses is dead. You see him kind of turn, seeing his fellows attacking. He's going to make a little agility roll. He's going to fail wildly. And you see him, in an effort to get off the cart, just pitch into the dirt, and you just hear his neck break as he hits the ground.
Oh.
He only had 1 hit point left. Yeah, he thuds to the earth. And that takes us back to a new round. Who's going first? That's a 6. You guys are hot tonight. It's you guys. Galgenbeck, you're up first, my dude.
Oof. How many are left at this point?
There are 3 left, all of whom are around Prince Otto, desperately trying to stab him as his sword just pulls his arm to deflect all of these strikes. Like, he's got no stance. He's just sort of standing, and the sword is like just ding, 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 blocking all these strikes.
I'm going, with this 3 left, I'm going to grab from my pack just a big handful of my caltrops that I picked up earlier, and fling them amongst the 3 as best I can.
Okay, I like that. Make me a presence roll to throw these caltrops.
That would be a 4.
Oh dear.
These caltrops do not like me.
These caltrops are bad. Prince Otto, you feel a rain of caltrops coming down on you. Do you have any armor, Prince Otto?
Yes, I do. I believe it is leather armor, light armor.
Probably
yes,
a
light leather armor,
D4?
minus D2 damage.
Minus D2 damage. Okay. Make me a D2 roll to see how much of this incoming damage you're going to negate.
So 1, 2 on a D6. 1, 2, or 3 is 1, 4, 5, 6 is 2. 1.
You take 2 points of damage as a couple of these spiky little caltrops sort of stick themselves. Like, I think one of them just sticks like directly into the top of your head. Not deep, but like enough to be quite upsetting. And the other one kind of scratches your face a little bit.
Your Majesty, I don't think that would have happened if you converted. Just saying.
They only strike the non-believer. Prince Otto, as Galgenbeck has thrown caltrops at you, it is now your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to skewer one of the people in front of me.
Incredible. Make me an attack roll, please.
Nanny, I love you. That is a 13.
13 is going to hit. Roll me some damage.
3.
3 points of damage. You slash one of these guys, or rather, Kring slashes one of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you retaliate against
them.
Kring's
skill, my strength.
So, now that we come to the end of that turn, Naomi. Would you like to tell me exactly how what I'm about to say happens?
Cool.
And it's,
I think that from my point of view, I roll into the dust and I feel myself melt into the earth and become a skeleton. But then I drop into like an underground river which starts rehydrating me. and I come out. I basically managed to rehydrate, come out, dig my way back up through the earth, and just come out a little further up the road, and they'll be like, "Hey guys!" and start running back towards the cart.
Now, whether or not that is true, I leave up to you guys, but impossibly, Bloodless Keith is sprinting down the road towards you guys. And also the husk that was his body, it's gone. Like, it's not where it fell. That little pile of dust that it disintegrated into it's not there. And Bloodless Keith sprints back into the battle. Would you like to enter the combat, Bloodless Keith?
Yes, please.
What would you like to do?
To bonk someone on the head.
Absolutely. There's a guy that has just been slashed by
I'll take him.
Prince Otto. You rush in as everyone else is kind of like, what?
Bloodful Keith didn't do that.
Bloodful. Attack roll, please. Strength.
Cool.
D20.
I rolled a 3.
You rush in and absolutely bonk this guy on the head, but your right arm hasn't rehydrated properly yet, so it's very weak. It's just a sort of, you sort of place the femur on his head. Fantastic. Hargo, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a shoot.
You gonna throw a shoe?
Yeah, at one of the unhurt lads.
Go for it.
Ooh, that is a 10 on a difficulty roll of 10.
Oh yeah, then it hits.
Beats it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Beats it, baby.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't have
That's it.
dramatically torn your name in half because
Yeah, no, I did think that was a choice, but I'm into
I was just gonna. It's a post-it, so it'll stick together.
Yeah. That is 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage to one of the unharmed guys. Your
harmed now.
horseshoe of death's horse cracks across the back of his head as it wheels past and then back into your hand. That takes
I've
us
just got a blood
to.
spatter up my arm.
Yeah.
That's great.
That takes us to the bottom of the order. Bloodless Keeve and Prince Otto are in the line of fire here. We have 3 of these cultists remaining. 2 of them, sensing that he's the greater threat, are going to attack Prince Otto. And
It's
one
the
of
first
them.
time he's ever been called a greater threat.
Sorry, I should rephrase. 2 of them, seeing that the sword he's got is the threat, are going to attack Prince Otto. So 2 defense rolls, please.
That is a 2
Uh-oh. That's going to hit.
and a 1.
2 and a 1. Both. Wait, a nat 1?
Well, it was a 2 minus
okay,
1.
not a nat
sorry.
1. Okay,
A
right.
dirty
so,
one.
2 strike. 2. Oh, filthy. 2 strikes coming in on you. So get your armor roll ready. It's a D2. First attack is going to be 3 points of damage.
I negate one of those points of damage.
So you
that's
take
2.
2 points of damage.
Yeah.
And the second, he's going to be 4.
I negate 2 of those, so again, that's
So-
2 points of damage,
So you take 4
No.
points of damage total.
which brings me down to 0.
Exactly 0 hit points.
Exactly 0.
Oh, love it. Exactly 0 hit points. Nick,
Yes.
could you please roll me a D4?
Ooh.
I rolled a 1.
You're just somehow, all this is a knockout. The first knife kind of slashes under your guard and catches you in the ribs, and then the second one is a slightly awkward thrust, but you end up just getting smashed in the temple by the butt of the knife, and you crumple to the ground, unconscious for now. Kring screams absolute rage at this point. And you, Bloodless Keeve, Kring's yelling at you as Prince Otto goes down, and you being the closest person, he's just screaming at you. Okay.
Does the
is
sword
one of
still
them
have
gonna
control
try
of
and
my
hit me?
arm? Sorry.
Huh?
No.
Potentially. One attack coming in on you, Bloodless Keeve, from the remaining guy. You're on a 2. 2 points of damage coming at you.
Negate 1.
Negate 1. Take 1 point of damage.
Cool beans.
Okay. That takes us back to a new round. It's a 6. It's you guys. We begin with
Yeah.
Galgenbeck. What you got, buddy? Make it
Okay.
good.
Reading you loud and clear here, Valka. No more caltrops. Back to the good old-fashioned sling. Let's crack some skulls of some heretics. That would be an 18.
18 is going to hit. Which one of them are you going for? There are 2 wounded. You going for one of the wounded ones?
Yeah, let's go for
Yeah?
one of the wounded ones. Only 1 point of damage, though.
Only 1 point of damage. Your slingstone cracks across this guy's arm. Definitely doing damage, but not a huge amount. Prince Otto, you're unconscious on the ground, but crucially not dead.
No.
Which is excellent for you.
Yet.
I would like you to make an attack roll for Kring. The difficulty on this is going to be a 16.
Okay. As a flat roll or still with the -1 agility?
Would be strength for a melee roll. I'm just going to say
Yeah,
flat
-1
roll.
for strength. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to say flat roll. You just need to hit a 16 or over.
This would be so funny. Natural 20.
Sometimes the dice tell a story, and sometimes that story is very cool. Could you please roll me damage and double it?
Is that the +1 damage doubled as well?
I'm going to say yes. This ain't your daddy's D&D.
So that's 4, so that's 8, so that's 10.
10 points of damage. Kring, like you see, Prince Otto's gone down. He's unconscious. He's flopped to the ground in an effete heap. And you see as Kring is screaming, like the scream intensifies until it is a barely audible screech. And then you watch as Prince Otto's arm like shakes, launches up off the ground, and just cuts one of these guys' legs off, just in one clean sweep. Just slices his legs off at the knees. He screams and like collapses to the ground. He's not instantly dead, but in terms of hit points, that guy had full. That was one of the guys with full hit points. He is for all intents and purposes dead. As Kring severs both of his legs. Absolutely incredible work, Nick. Bloodless Keeve, you're up.
Great. I'm like, that sword seems great. I'm gonna grab it and help guide it into the next guy.
Okay, nice. You know what? Kring wants to continue killing, and he'll need to move in order to do that. So I think Kring is willing to let you wield him. So all you need to hit here is a DR 10.
Cool. I think we're both wielding him at this point. Like, my hand is over Otto's. Otto's is on the sword.
Amazing. Oh dear. Oh no.
Fuck.
Yes. Wait, it doesn't count. It was on the floor. Reroll it. Is it a nat 1?
No.
Is it a nat 20?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Roll me damage. So that's a d6 plus 2. We're calling it. Yeah, we're calling it a d6 plus 2.
14.
Okay, so Keith, as you hold on to, as you wield Otto's arm, I think it's more that you kind of, by the arm, drag Otto closer to these two, and then Kring does the work. So that was a 6 on the dice, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so we
14.
That's a lot of damage. Naomi, describe to me how you, Kring, and unconscious Otto kill these other two guys. Because they had 6 hit points between them. So we're letting that. Cleave rules. Come at me.
I think I can. I'm like, okay. I lift up the sword with Otto, pull Otto sideways, and then it's like a almost a cartoonish like whirl, and it just goes through both of them, like a kebab. It just comes sideways, and it's just like
right through the side of both of these guys. You see it punch a kidney out on the other side.
I grab that, eat it.
You gain. No, you don't. There is a sudden gasping silence. All except for the sound of just so much slurping coming from the inside of these two guys' bodies as Kring just drinks deep of their blood. Enough rounds outside of combat pass, Prince Otto, for you to regain consciousness. It was 4 rounds it was going to be, but we're okay. You find your
back on one hit point or something.
You're actually back on a D4, so roll a D4, see how many hit points you come back with.
So it could be a 1.
Could be a 4.
In fact, it is a 4. So.
Nice.
Yeah. You wake feeling strangely rejuvenated. And as you wake up and sort of, looking around, did we win? Bloodless Keith is somehow still alive. That was weird. As the 7th of these cultists falls dead, you hear a slight sound from the direction of the casket.
Oh, did we break some seals?
The seven breaks.
Uh-oh!
And the stone lid begins to grind to the side.
Well, that
Mist
can only be a good sign.
pours in around you from the casket as it opens. And you see a skeletal hand, grey scraps of flesh hanging from it, push this massive stone sarcophagus lid aside with very little effort. And what rises from that coffin, all of you only see for a moment as its skeletal, hateful visage is burned into your minds. And all of you lose consciousness and drop into a inky, black abyss. And that is where we're going to end our session this evening.
Yeah!
Sorry we overran a little bit, but, you know, it was important to me. Sorry, I might get in trouble for that. Anyway, thank you so much for playing, guys. Let's rattle through this. You've all been awesome. Tell everyone who's still with us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and why they should come back, starting with Beth.
I'm Beth. I'm from We Fix Space Junk, and I'm gonna kill more people with a shoe next week. Probably a lot more people. At least 2.
Yeah, that sounds realistic. Nick.
I'm Nick. I'm from the Trolls of the Two Ton Bridges podcast. You can find us on all the medias, and I'm going to be wielded by Kring next week.
Yeah. And Adam.
I'm Adam, the DM of Gunpowder, Treason, No Plot. You can find us basically everywhere, and next week I will continue to spread the blessings and words of Varka to the world.
Yes. And finally, Naomi.
I'm Naomi Thixet, the sad girl under your bed. You can catch me playing Monty Barker, the Chicken Nugget Wizard, on Realms Pod with Pip.
Oh, I know that guy. He's great.
You hate him.
I do.
And you can find my show at the Kilda. Zach from Realms Pod has also said, don't forget that Cyborg is coming out soon.
I know I'm going to do that. It's my
And
game.
To answer the question in the chat, we'll be back next Friday for the second half of this.
I'm gonna say that.
It's gonna be badass.
I'm the host.
Same Mork time, same Mork place.
Mork place. Well, you've said half the things I was going. I'm just gonna say them again. Because I'm petty like that. I have been your humble GM, Pip Gladwin.
Yeah.
You can find me on Realms of Peril and Glory, getting involved in a bunch of games with those guys. And you can find me at Pip_Gladwin on Twitter, where you can find out what I'm doing with Realms, with Actual Play UK, and with a bunch of audio drama and voice acting-y stuff, which is also a thing that I do.
Yeah.
Please do subscribe to Actual Play UK. That would be awesome for us and everybody involved, which is this really lovely growing community of Actual Play folks from around the United Kingdom. Come check us out again, obviously, next week, same time, same Mork channel. Join us as we Mork all the Borgs next week, same time, 14th of July. That's right, isn't it?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the one.
14th of July, where we'll complete this little game. My brain tried to think of another word and failed. Also check out on 21st of July, I think there's been an ad for it in the break, but Dummies and Dragons. It's an interactive, very, very silly little quiz featuring folks from Modified Roll, Backwater Bastards, DM's Book Club, Bardic Knock, and Dice and a Slice. And also, on the 28th of July, Maddie Searle from Realms of Peril and Glory and A Game of One's Own, which is her lovely 1 to 2 player tabletop RPG podcast. She will, in Game of One's Own fashion, be playing a Dragon Dowser, which is a solo RPG. So definitely check that out. And also next month, we have got Delta Green coming, we've got Solemn Veil coming, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. Check us out on socials, subscribe to find out what all of those things are. Now, I am going to say it again. Check out Realms of Peril and Glory. Towards the end of this month, we don't have an exact date yet, but it's coming, is a game of Cyborg, which is the cyberpunk hack of this game that you've just been watching. That'll be coming on the channel. That's fully, sound designed. We have beautiful original music, lots of lovely players, and is GM'd by myself. So unless you hated this, probably check that out. Gosh, what else is there to say? I should say, because I didn't at the top, Mörk Borg comes to us from Sweden via various folks at Stockholm Cartel, Occult Ormastare Games, Free League, and it is written and designed by Pelle Nielsen with frankly awesome art and graphic design from Johan Nohr. Like, the book is so pretty, you should check it out if you haven't. And I'm gonna stop talking now because I've overrun by quite a bit and I fear the wrath of John.
I love you, bye!
But we're gonna go. Thank you so much for watching Actual Play UK. Find us on Twitter and Instagram, Actual Play UK. We have been the show. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Big waves.